I've talked to, we talked to.
Well, so
Yeah, yeah, oh, yeah, exactly.
Sorry. Okay. I got it. Stuff over here. All that fun stuff.
all right. Well, if you're ready to
No, sir. I checked this morning. No.
I thought they said it was automatic. Are you still? Okay, go ahead and check. Yeah, she's got to get the. All right. A cell phone, go ahead and put that on vibrate or turn it off. And then once we're ready to start recording and the clerk gets her computer up, we'll begin. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and call the, excuse me, the October 8th, 2025 magistrate docket to order. My name is Hayward Dykes. I'll be the special magistrate hearing the matters today. My understanding, Madam Clerk, is there no edits to the docket this morning? All right, so with that being said, we'll go ahead and call the first matter, 25003186, MG Joseph Bazart. Is that you? All right, Mr. Bazart, go ahead and grab a seat right there at that table. Just for everybody, we're gonna swear everyone in mass here in a moment, but we'll allow the county to present their case. You'll be allowed to ask any questions of the officer, and then at that point, after they're done presenting, you can present any testimony or evidence you wish for me to hear. We are recording, so if you will please, whenever it's time for you to speak, approach the podium, make sure your microphone's on and speak into the microphone. All right, so those will be the ground rules for this morning. We have Officer Ford, and let me go ahead and get the housekeeping out of the way. Everybody stand who plans to present testimony or evidence this morning. Raise your right hand. Do you all swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? All right, thank you all. You be seated. All right, so we'll allow Officer Ford to present, and then Mr. Is that the right? Bazardi. Mr. Bazardi will allow you to ask any questions of Officer Ford and present any testimony or evidence after he's presented his case. All right?
May I approach?
Yes, sir. All right. And Officer Ford has handed me 2 photographs of a Toyota Highlander, license plate number IU74AZ. One is a picture of the back of it. The other is a picture more of the parking lot, but catches the back corner of that same vehicle. All right, Officer Ford, whenever you're ready.
On August the 24th, during the routine security patrol of the beach access areas along West 30A, I observed a vehicle registered to Mr. Bazardi parked on the sidewalk at the public beach access entrance at the Lake Causeway Beach Access. I issued the citation in accordance with my standard procedures, placed a copy on the vehicle, and resumed patrol.
Okay. The one second. Mr. Bazardi, you have a copy of the photographs. Is there any objections to those photographs being introduced? No, okay, thank you, sir. So those will be accepted as the county's composite exhibit 1. The I'm just looking at the citation. All right, at this time, Mr. Bazardi, do you have any questions of Officer Ford? No, I just have to take. Okay, that is fine, sir. I'll let Officer Ford then take a seat. And if you don't mind, Mr. Bazardi, if you want to come on up to the podium. Okay. If you want to go ahead and make any statement or testimony, and if you have any evidence, I'll also take that at this time.
Yeah, okay, so my name is Joe Bazardi. I've been up here since '85. I have an office, I'm an optometrist. I have an office in Fort Walton Beach, Panama City. And on August the 24th, I did something that I haven't done in years and years, and that's go to the beach. And so I come up there and I park. There was, all the spaces were taken. Only thing that was left is the golf cart spaces. And then these spaces over here, which have no, and I have other pictures that have no sign that says no parking or anything like this. So I just kind of moved over there in this direction. And yes, I did get on the sidewalk some, but I didn't realize it was that much. I wasn't intentional, and I thought that, you know, I left enough for the people to walk by me. So I go out to the beach, and this is I picked the worst access in the entire world to go to because it was the Dune Allen access. And I got run off from the water. So then I come out to my car and I get a ticket. And this is the first time I've been to the beach in years. So, you know, I don't think I want to go back. Anyway, so I go down and I talk to the sheriff at the substation on 331. because I wanted to ask questions about this, and I wanted to know about the beach access. This is Governor DeSantis had just signed 622. I thought it had eliminated a lot of this, but they explained to me not here because of some kind of lawsuit or something. Anyway, so as far as the car situation, I showed him this, and he says, well, yes, you were, but I would not have issued you a ticket. He got a little overzealous there. And so he told me, but as far as the beach stuff, come back and talk to the sergeant that handles all that. So I came back about a week or so later, and I talked to him about the beach access, and he explained to me what's going on and all that. And then I showed him this, and he's like, well, again, yes, I wouldn't have issued you a citation, and you probably have a good case. Go down there and argue it in front of the magistrate. So here I am, and I apologize. I'm sorry. It wasn't like an intentional thing. I honestly didn't know, and I asked for it to be resolved in my favor.
All right. Officer Ford, do you have any questions for Mr. Bazzarati?
And by the way, I want to point out that as I also pointed out to the officers, and I have other pictures, all around, there's, you got parking over here and over here. There's no signs. It said nothing. I still, to this day, I don't know if I can go over there and park on the side, and without getting a ticket.
Well,
And I'm like,
do you want to introduce those photographs?
yeah,
You
I
say
have.
you keep mentioning you have photographs. If you want to introduce those into evidence, I'm not going to give them back. They'll be part of the record.
No, it's fine.
If you want me to see something. And just show these to Officer Ford before you show them to me. That way he'll have a chance to look at them.
So that's, still to this day, and I asked them,
Mr.
Am I-
Bazzarati, do you want to hand me
bring
those
them up.
photographs? Yeah.
and I asked them, can I park there? They couldn't tell me something. I'm just not going back without doing that. Period.
All right. So you handed me two photographs. One is of a.
But, yeah, that's where I'm just showing where they, there's no sign that says no parking. Can I approach the bench?
Yeah, I'll let you.
There's no signs that say, back here, this is behind, and see, there's no, to this day, I don't know. I was gonna park there, but I didn't know. I thought it was better to park where I did. I was just showing here on this one. Yeah, where I was.
Okay.
There's no parking.
All right.
Anyway, look, I apologize. I'm sorry, and I didn't realize that was going to be such a big issue, and because I didn't block the whole sidewalk, and I didn't even realize I was on the sidewalk that much. So, anyway, they told me to come down here and plead my case, and here I am.
Understood. We'll accept into evidence the two photographs Mr. Bazzarati presented. That'll be the respondent's Exhibit A. The Officer Ford, did you have any questions?
I have no questions. I would make a statement, though.
Okay. I'll let you have last word. Or I'll let you make your statement, then I'll let Mr. Bazzarati have the last word.
I would say that
Come on up to the microphone, and you can use the other microphone. That's fine.
this is deep into my beat, so I do patrol it frequently. And the posse policy is the multimodal facility is a 100% violation. We do give some leeway, but in this case, it was clearly blocking the sidewalk. That is a busy sidewalk. It connects the neighborhoods on the north side of 30A to that beach access. And the issue is if the people backing out of the marked spaces would be backing directly into the people that are forced into the parking lot by the sidewalk being blocked. So it is not a harmless offense. It could potentially constitute a traffic nuisance under Section 2484. Also, the county engineers have laid out that parking lot specifically to provide access to emergency vehicles, and he is also in violation of Section 2026, parked outside the marked spaces in a public access lot. However, The individual parking spaces aren't marked, but the section for parking is marked with signs.
Right, understood. Well, yeah, we're not here on those other items that you may or may not have been able to cite them for. We are here for the parking. I understand there's a health, safety, and welfare component to it, for blocking a sidewalk. That's not lost on me. Mr. Bazzarati, I'll let you have the last word.
Okay, look, I understand that. Well, first of all, I don't feel like I'm blocking the entire sidewalk and I obstructed it. If I had been all the way over to the curb, okay. Nevertheless, I live in the area myself and I drive down this road a lot. And to be honest with you, I've never seen hordes of people going to the beach using this access. In fact, now today, that weekend, there was a few, yeah, the spaces were all taken, but did I see anybody walking up there? No, not a one. That doesn't say it doesn't happen. Does it make that I park wrong, right? No, it doesn't. I apologize. I'm sorry. I didn't realize that I was on it, but I didn't obstruct the entire sidewalk. And believe me when I tell you, I will never do it again. In fact, I ain't never gonna go to this access again, ever. And they need to put, as far as him saying you gotta park in designated parking spaces, well, yes and no. What is a designated parking space? That kind of looked like one. And if you look at it, you can back up without hitting anything. And then the other one I showed you further down, that's even wider. They need to delineate where, if you don't want to park there, no parking. I mean, that's all I ask. Put a no parking sign. And then everybody's on the same page. And that's all I can say.
All right, thank you, sir. You can have a seat. All right, at this time, I'll close the evidence portion of this hearing. Based on the testimony and evidence, I will make the following findings of fact. I'll find that the evidence presented does show that there is a violation of the Walton County Ordinance 2022-07 and 20-50 for parking. I believe the evidence presented does show that Mr. Bazzarati did block, even though he believes it's de minimis. There is blocking of the sidewalk clearly shown in the photographs. As such, these are matters which some people may or may not understand or know. There is some discretion by law enforcement, but these are called what are generally understood as strict liability crimes. So it's similar to speeding and other matters. You're either doing the speed limit or you're not doing the speed limit. No, sir, you're done. So at this point, I will find that there is a violation. I will find that you have to, the evidence presented shows a violation clearly. There's a $100 code enforcement fee, a $50 clerk administrative fee, and a $25 clerk processing fee for a total of $175. Mr. Bazzarati, you'll have 30 days to pay that. You'll pay that at the clerk's office and you'll get a copy of your order so you can pay that. All right, thank you, sir. Your case is over.
Am I gonna get a notice in the mail or something?
You'll get this one right here. All right, our next case is
I'm here
Our next case is 25002371. The Jackson Canfield is listed, and we have Officer Lemon. This is a claim for improper no parking where sign prohibited. All right. All right. You, Officer Lemon, if you want to go ahead and approach. Mr. Canfield, you saw how we did the last case. I'll allow Officer Lemon to present. You can ask questions of Officer Lemon, and then you can present any testimony or evidence you wish for me to consider. Officer Lemon, whenever you're ready.
May I present the evidence?
Yes, sir. All right. What Officer Lemon has handed me is a copy of the citation dated July 13th, 2025, listing Jackson Canfield and a appears to be for a no parking with Mr. Lemon signing. I also have behind that a photograph of a, appears to be a Ford Bronco, blue in color, with a license plate. I think that's PR3QP, and then a printout regarding registration and ownership of that vehicle. Have you given a copy to Mr. Canfield?
Yes, I have.
Canfield, have you had a copy, had a chance to review that? Do you have any questions or any objections to that being entered? Okay, thank you, sir. We'll accept that into evidence as the county's Exhibit 1. And Officer Lemon, whenever you're ready.
Yes, sir. On July 13th, 2025, I was patrolling the west zone of the 38 corridor. At approximately 11:15 in the morning, I observed a blue Ford Bronco, Florida tag PR3QP, parked on the eastbound right-of-way at 5555 West County Highway 38 in an area designated by signage as no parking. Since the driver of the vehicle is not present, the citation was attached to the vehicle's windscreen.
All right. And that printout that you provided, that's how you determined who the owner was?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Mr. Canfield, do you have any questions for Officer Lemon at this time? Okay. Officer Lemon, you can grab a seat. And Mr. Canfield, this will give you an opportunity to present any testimony or evidence if you want to come on up to the podium.
Appreciate the time this morning. I don't have really any objections to Officer Lemon and I had a great conversation even after. And my wife and I are residents of 3 years, 2 years as homeowners on Delbert Lane off of Thompson. And so more or less just was seeking kind of clarification. We've got a ton of development obviously in the area for us as well, but the perpendicular signage to 30A was where, I felt there was miscommunication or confusion on my part to not know that that was a non-parking area. Again, we're pretty new to the community, and even a little bit more westbound, there is open parking, but it's not necessarily attached to an access. So for this particular area to be right where that access is, and it to be not parking, but going down, a couple blocks per se, and it is parking, but not in close proximity to the access, was where the confusion lied. So obviously we were, parking in a non-parking zone. The sign obviously showed that after the fact, but more or less was, something of confusion on our part, and didn't really see the direct apparent communication from a signage standpoint. So that's really the only statement I have. We're happy to, adhere to whatever the decision is, but more or less wanted to share that input.
Thank you, sir.
Yep.
Officer Lemon, do you have any questions for Mr. Canfield?
I have nothing.
Okay. And so, Officer Lemon, do you want to go ahead and describe for the record how the signs are on that? You'll need to come up to the
Yes. I have a photograph that I can add to the evidence.
That's fine. You can do that, as well as describe for the court on how that signage is posted.
Yeah, I can describe all day. Picture does much better.
Understood. Do it over. You want to do it over there? Just so we're recording, so I'm trying to just keep our record as clean as possible.
Yeah, the
So you
photograph
handed me two
shows-
photographs. This is Highway 30A, is my understanding. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then, so looks like you're taking the photograph from the north side of the road, facing
Sure.
south towards the Gulf of America.
Yes, sir.
All right, go ahead.
Yes, sir. This photograph shows not only the vehicle, the Bronco with the sunshades on the windshield, but also the no parking sign, which is approximately 40 feet in front of him on the before him on the street. Behind him, it's about 100 feet to the other end of the no parking zone, and the signage does show it is facing the street, that as you're driving by you would see it. The only other possibility that could be done here would be to mount the signs on the other side of the sidewalk, But then you have people thinking, well, then it's okay to park right by the street. So I can understand why Public Works mounts them like they do.
Understood. All right. I appreciate that, Officer Lemon. Mr. Canfield, any issues with this being accepted in evidence?
No,
All right.
absolutely. I mean, if you look at it, you know, there's signage there is more or less the, you know, ongoing development. We're going to get more people there, obviously, as we go forward. So is this, you know, the adequate solution for, you know, communication of that signage? So, but Officer Lemon's absolutely correct in the situation, and our responsibility to know the signage as well.
Thank you, sir. All right. Is there any more testimony or evidence from either side? All right. Thank you, gentlemen. You can have a seat. I'll go ahead and accept into evidence as County's Exhibit 2 the additional photographs that were presented. I'll close the evidence portion of this hearing. I'll make the following findings of fact. I'll find that based on the testimony and evidence and Mr. Canfield's admission, but more so the photographs provided by Officer Lemon show that there was a violation for improper parking where signs prohibited. As stated before, I don't have a lot of wiggle room in these matters because of, you know, the ordinance says what it says. Accordingly, because of that, I will find that there is evidence to show that there was a violation, that the fine imposed will be $100. There's a clerk administrative fee of $50, and there's a clerk processing fee of $25 for a total due of $175. Mr. Canfield will have 30 days to pay that. Mr. Canfield, you can pay that at the clerk's office, and the clerk will provide you a copy of your order here in a moment. All right. Are there any questions regarding my ruling? No? All right. Thank you, sir. Mr. Canfield, Officer Lemon, and that concludes the matter. All right. Thank you, gentlemen. The next case is 25-1277. Officer is Officer McClellan, and we have Connor Martin. Is Mr. Martin here? Okay, Mr. Martin, if you want to come up and grab a seat.
Your Honor, I also have the same subject under,
Oh, you have number 4 as well? Okay.
correct, 1802.
Yes, sir. Okay, well, are they interrelated?
They're exactly the same place,
Okay, well,
just 1 month apart.
okay, well, let's do the first thing first. So we'll do number 3, and then we'll handle number 4 in case there's additional evidence and testimony to try to keep it
All right,
separated. So, Mr. Martin, all right, you're seated. Officer McClellan, whenever you're ready.
Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes, sir. All right, Officer McClellan's handed me a copy of a citation dated May 25th, 2025, made out to the Connor Martin. The offense alleged in the citation is parking in a no parking area posted by signs. Got a copy of the registration and printout. So close up of a Florida license plate FLF44, and then a copy, 2 more pictures, one showing a 4Runner with that same license plate parked with there's a no parking sign in the forefront, and then the last photograph I have is a picture of the windshield with a parking ticket envelope underneath the driver's side windshield wiper. So, Mr. Martin, did you have an opportunity to review those documents? Did he give you a copy? All right. Any questions, any objections regarding any of the things that were provided to you? All right. Without any objection, I'll accept into evidence the composite exhibits, everything I just went through as County's Exhibit 1. And then Officer McClellan, whenever you're ready to present.
All right, Your Honor, on May 25th, 2025, at about 3:59 p.m., patrolling in the area of 5960 West County Highway 30A when I observed Mr. Martin's vehicle parked in the no parking area. He was issued a citation, and the citation was placed on the windshield of the vehicle.
All right. Mr. Martin, do you have any questions for Officer McClellan? Okay. Officer McClellan, thank you, sir. You can grab a seat. And Mr. Martin, if you want to go ahead and come up to the podium, you can present any testimony or evidence that you'd like for me to consider.
Good morning.
Morning.
So I live locally and go to this beach often, so I try to follow kind of the parking rules. The sign at the spot said no parking anytime with arrows pointing in both directions, which normally means in most cases kind of no parallel parking, along the curb or the sidewalk. My vehicle wasn't parallel parked. It was across the sidewalk in the gravel area, which looked like an overflow or kind of shoulder spot. And there weren't any posts or curbs or kind of markings other than the sign ahead of the sidewalk showing that that area was restricted at the time. And actually, a couple months later, the county installed posts, I think, along on the other side of the sidewalk, about every 5 feet, kind of restricting that gravel area from being parked in, which I think clearly shows it was unclear or inconsistently marked before. So I parked in good faith, kind of interpreting the sign as it's typically used, and I believe kind of the lack of the posts at the time that I parked there, and later corrections justify dismissing both citations.
Okay, so your argument is you're allowed to park behind the no parking sign, and because the county approximately a month or a couple months later, I believe, based on your testimony, put out posts on the other side of the road.
That's right, and I have a picture of the newly installed posts. I just didn't
Yeah, I
able
think
to
I'm
print it
familiar
off.
with it. So I guess my question would be then, so your interpretation of this no parking sign was, I'll just drive past it. This is for parallel parking. Can you show me anywhere on the parking sign that it says no parallel parking?
No, it does not say parallel.
No parking, correct?
Correct, yes,
Okay.
sir.
Do you have some photographs that you would like for me to take into evidence, or is that going to be for the next case?
I only have one, and I wasn't able to print it, so it's on my
Okay.
phone.
Well, I don't want to take your phone.
Okay.
Okay. Officer McClellan, do you have any questions for Mr. Martin? All right. Do you have, I'll let you have last word, Mr. Martin. Do you have anything additional that you want me to consider?
Really just it. This kind of was, I think, by the local community, sort of an easy overflow, especially when, golf carts were taking up kind of normal car parking spots. It kind of led us in that direction, and that's kind of how that came to be.
Understood. Yeah, I know parking is an ongoing issue down there. Hence why we're here, why there are no parking signs and whatnot. So, all right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you for your time.
Yes, sir. All right. So we do have for Mr. Martin another docket number 4, another matter. And this is also you, Mr. McClellan, but you said these are about a month apart, correct? I don't want to get into it. I just want to confirm these weren't on the same day or anything like that.
These were not on the same day. The other citation is June 22nd, 2025.
Okay. Well, then I'm going to go ahead and, as we began, go ahead and handle these separately. So on the matter 25-0012-77 MG. I've already accepted into evidence as county's composite exhibit 1. I'll go ahead and close the evidence portion of this hearing. Based on the testimony and evidence presented, I do find that based on the evidence and testimony that the violation has occurred or violation of parking in a posted area. Based on the violation, there's a $100 fine, there's a $50 clerk administrative fee, and there's a $25 clerk processing fee for $175 that will be paid within 30 days. That can be paid at the clerk's office. And Mr. Martin, you'll get a copy of that order from the clerk here today. But hang tight. Let's see what happens with this next one. So this is case number 25001802 MG. Again, Mr. Martin, and again, Officer McClellan. And the citation, improper, no parking or sign prohibited. I'm going to hand you this, Madam Clerk. You can keep that separate. All right, Officer McClellan, whenever you're ready. Do you have any additional?
Yes, Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes, please. All right. Officer McClellan's handed me a copy of a citation. Has Connor Martin listed. This one's dated June 22nd, 2025. The listed violation is parked in a no parking area. There's also a copy of the registration printout, a copy of a photograph of a license plate FLF44, a photograph of a close-up of a no parking sign, and a 4Runner in the background, and then a copy or a print, a photograph of the windshield with a parking ticket under the driver's side windshield wiper. Mr. Martin, have you got a copy of these? All right. And do you have any objection? All right. Thank you, sir. We'll take this and accept this into as county's Exhibit 1. Officer McClellan, whenever you're ready.
All right, Your Honor, on June 22nd, 2025, at about 3:30 p.m. in the area of 5960 West County Highway 30A, I observed Mr. Martin's vehicle parked in a no parking area. A citation was issued and a citation was placed on the windshield at that time.
Mr. Martin, do you have any questions for Officer McClellan on this matter? Okay. And, all right, thank you, Officer McClellan. You can grab a seat. Mr. Martin, do you have anything to add other than what you did before, if you got other testimony or evidence? Understood. Thank you, sir. At this time, I'll close the evidence portion of this hearing. I'll make the following findings of fact and conclusions of law. I'll find that based on the testimony and evidence presented that there is a violation that Mr. Martin improperly parked in parking where a sign is were posted. Excuse me. Due to the violation, there's a $100 fine, a $50 clerk administrative fee, and a $25 clerk processing fee. What I will say is, I understand the prior citation, was months earlier or a month earlier. But again, I don't know that I have the ability to deviate from the fine scheduled just because the citations were so close together. So unfortunately, the total amount of fines will be $175. You'll have 30 days to pay. And you'll have to pay that at the clerk's office, and you'll get a copy of that order as well. So, Mr. McClellan, if you want to come up and, I'm sorry, Mr. Martin, if you want to come up and pick up both copies of your final orders. And that'll conclude both item 3 and item 4 on the docket.
Your Honor, that's my only case for today.
All right.
Dismissed.
Yes, sir. You're dismissed. All right, our next case.
I received an email that
Your Honor, I'd like to speak to you.
Oh, yes, sir, you can. Thank you.
Mr. McNeil went to Definiak, so he's en route to Freeport. They sent him down.
Okay, understood. So we'll skip Mr. McNeil for now. And do we have, we'll go down to our last matter on the docket. This is Henry Prentice. Is that how you pronounce that name, sir? Yes. Prentice? Okay. Mr. Prentice. And then we have Officer Knutson. And this is 25002591 MG, improper no parking or sign prohibited. All right. Officer Knutson, whenever you...
Present my evidence to you.
Yes, you can approach. Thank you, ma'am. All right, I was handed a copy of a citation made out to Henry Prentice. The alleged violation is no parking in a no parking area. Have a photograph of a sign with a looks like a black Toyota truck immediately adjacent, and there's a photograph of a dark colored Toyota vehicle, another picture of a no parking sign, a printout for the appears to be the registration for RAV4, Toyota RAV4, and then we have a printout for the case file, and then 2 additional photographs, one of the RAV4 with a license plate 89E CFW, and then a front picture of a dark in color, maybe teal color, RAV4 with the, I'm assuming that's the parking ticket underneath the driver's side windshield wiper. All right. Mr. Prentice, did you have an opportunity to review those documents?
I have.
Okay, do you have any questions, any objections regarding any of the documents?
I do.
Okay, go ahead and come on up to the podium and tell me what your objections or questions are.
In the photographs that are shown here, there are 2 separate cars. Say what?
That's the picture of the no parking sign.
Okay, and the relevance of this car is what?
I'm just taking a picture. I wasn't.
Okay, so what I'll do, Mr. Prentice, we'll hold this one out.
Okay.
What other objections or comments do you have?
Comments are just that the signs are clearly not visible unless you're
Okay.
you're standing on the
No, no, I'm just talking about the photographs
Oh,
at this
okay.
point. I'll let you present evidence in a moment, but
That's
just
it.
anything regarding it. So I'm gonna hold these, and I'm gonna allow Officer Knutson to talk about why this picture is relevant to this matter, and then based on that, I'll decide whether or not that gets introduced. So Officer is it Knutson? Knutson. Whenever you're ready, but I would ask for you to address Mr. Prentice's question regarding that
About
photograph.
the no parking
Sure.
sign. That is all I was doing, was taking a picture of the no parking sign.
Okay,
There's
so
another one in there as well. It wasn't, the purpose of the photograph isn't the truck that's.
Okay, so you're not representing that this vehicle, which appears to be a Toyota Tundra truck, dark in color, is Mr. Prentice's vehicle or
No,
anything
no.
like that? Okay, and we're not here on this,
No,
this
sir.
particular vehicle is not at issue. Okay. All right, Mr. Prentice, any other questions regarding that? All right. All right, based on that clarification, I will accept that into evidence as well. So we'll mark all of this as County's Exhibit 1. And then Officer Knutson, whenever you're ready to present testimony.
July 19th, 2025, while proactively patrolling the scenic corridor, I observed a dark-colored Toyota RAV4 bearing Florida tag 89 ECFW parked in the county right-of-way along County Highway 30A. The vehicle is parked between two clearly posted no parking signs. I conducted a registration check, which I provided a copy of on the vehicle, and identified the registered owner as Henry James Prentice. Citation 4544 was issued for the parking violation and placed on the vehicle's windshield.
All right. Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Prentice, do you have any questions for Officer Knutson? Okay. Officer Knutson, you can grab a seat. Thank you, ma'am. At this time, Mr. Prentice, if you want to come on up to the podium, and this will be your opportunity to present any testimony or evidence you want me to consider.
Yeah, I don't want to waste your time considering what you've ruled on, but those signs are not visible when you pull into park. If you look up, they're perpendicular to the road, but they're not visible. If you're standing on the north side of the road and you're looking back south, you can see them. But if you're already parked and you look up, there is nothing there that says that there's no parking. So you've already ruled on that, and again, I don't want to waste your time. The only other thing that I would say is that I'm disabled, and there's no handicap accessibility in the area. So that's it.
Understood. Thank you, sir. Officer Knutson, do you have any questions for Mr. Prentice based on his testimony? All right. Mr. Prentice, thank you, sir. You can grab a seat. All right. Based on I'll go ahead and close the evidence portion. I'll make the following findings of fact and conclusions of law. I'll find, based on the testimony and evidence presented, that there is a testimony and evidence does provide sufficient evidence to show that there is a violation of Ordinance 20-23, improper parking in a no parking area where signs prohibited. Based on that, while I can understand Mr. Prentice is not the only one who's brought it up, I don't know what the solution is. I think they've had the signs a couple ways down there. So they've had them one way. People will say they can't see it from the road. They turn them, and then people say they can't see them when they park. So yeah, I understand. Yeah, I know because of some of the confusion, that the county has attempted to resolve that by placing more signage. And I think even earlier there was testimony from one of the other individuals that they're putting up posts in areas. So while not aesthetically pleasing, it's, I guess, you got to pick your battles type of deal. So while I can sympathize with Mr. Prentice, and I think there are some issues that people can face while parking down there, I do find that the evidence does present that the violation occurred. As such, I'm going to order the $100 fine, the $50 clerk fee, and the $25 clerk processing fee for a total of $175. Mr. Prentice, you'll need to pay that within the next 30 days. You'll get a copy of your order here from the clerk based on my ruling, and then you can, as I said, pay that at the clerk's office. Any questions regarding my ruling? No? All right. Mr. Prentice, that concludes your case, and you're dismissed if you want to go. What's the question? Yeah, you can appeal this to the circuit court, and you'll have 30 days to do that. All right. So grab your order, and you're free to go. All right. Did anybody come in while we were handling that case? Did Sean McNeil show up? How long ago did you get that message?
117.
All right, so it appears that Mr. McNeil went to Defuniak instead of coming here. And the clerk received a message around 9:17 that he was en route to come back down here. So what I'm gonna do, there's some noise, maybe he's coming. Let's give him like 2 more minutes, but if he doesn't show up, I'll consider, a county's motion to continue the matter. It won't deprive Mr. McNeil of showing up a month from now. But if he's pretty close, I'm sure both you and him would like to get this resolved today. So let's do this. We'll go ahead and just take a 3-minute recess. All right, I'm gonna call back to order the October 8th, 2025 magistrate docket. I thought I heard somebody come in, but we got stuff after. So, Officer Ford, at this time, based on Mr. McNeil not being here, do you want to go ahead and request a continuance and move this to the November, because you said you had a...
I do not.
Okay. Oh, okay. Well, I mean, I'll go ahead and let you begin presentation, and then if Mr. McNeil shows up, I'll let him speak to that. But if you're ready to present, I'll go ahead and call the Sean McNeil matter, 25002835 MG, Officer Ford listed as the officer, and this is a violation of handicap parking. All right, whenever you're ready.
Exhibits.
All right, thank you, sir. All right, for the record, Officer Ford has handed me a packet. The first item is a picture of a GMC Sierra pickup truck with license plate, Florida license plate Y050JE. A front picture of the windshield. Another picture from the driver's side towards the windshield. A email to Miss Jennifer King from Brandy McCrone, McCroan. And in this email it says, Mr. McNeil would like to see if the officer would mind dismissing this ticket, this time due to the below. And then we have looks like a copy or a scan of a disability permit that shows an expiration date of November 25th. And then a handwritten note. Let me just read that. It appears that Mr. McNeil may have wrote this handwritten part, and essentially, I'll paraphrase, his previous disability permit placard or hanger, he claims was destroyed due to heat, sunlight. He needed to get another doctor's letter before he could get another one issued. He got a doctor's appointment on 7/24. He got his ticket on 7/27, and then the new replacement permit was issued, he claims, on July 29th. All right, and then I have just one random page that has the Brandy McCroan signature block. So I'll accept that into evidence as the county's Exhibit 1. Officer Ford, whenever you're ready.
Okay, this is during a routine security patrol of the new parking lot at the Grayton Central Parking on South 283 on 7/27 at approximately 1400. I observed a vehicle registered to Mr. McNeil parked in a clearly signed and marked handicap access only parking space. There were plenty of parking spaces around, so I thought that was unusual. So I carefully checked to make sure there was no placard displayed by the photos in the Exhibit 1 and could not find one. I asked people in the area, had they seen anybody to try to get the vehicle moved? No one had seen him, so it had been there for quite some while. At which point I decided to go ahead and issue the citation in accordance with the standard procedures against Section 2012 of the county code. Placed a copy on his vehicle and resumed patrol.
All right, thank you, sir. Let me see. So this violation, based on the ordinance, would impose a $250 fine, is that correct?
Come in, sir.
Oh, is this Mr. McNeil? All right. Well, hold on, we're in the middle of it, just go grab a seat. If you're not Mr. McNeil, I don't need to hear from you right this moment. All right. Anything else, Officer Ford?
No, sir.
All right, before I make ruling, Madam Clerk, can you check the notice that was provided to Mr. McNeil? I want to make sure that our notice didn't accidentally say Defuniak, or that it, something along those lines.
I have the copy here, Your Honor, and it clearly states Freeport Commons, BBC.
Okay. I'll be glad to look at that, but I would still like the clerk to just confirm.
Says location of PCC.
All right, has today's date and time?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. All right, based on that, I'll find that notice was properly sent to Mr. McNeil, even though we were told that Mr. McNeil went to the wrong location, is en route. That was approximately 30 minutes ago. I understand there could be traffic or whatnot, but I believe Mr. McNeil was properly noticed. So while it was an error, and because the county has requested the matter be heard, I will accept into evidence, and then I will, the information provided, close the evidence portion of this hearing, and make the following findings of fact and conclusions of law. Find that based on the testimony and evidence presented by Officer Ford, there is sufficient evidence to show that an infraction occurred, specifically a violation of Ordinance 20-20, or I'm sorry, Ordinance 22-07 and 20-12, parking in a handicap spot without, without the properly displayed handicap placard. Based on that, there's a $250 fine, a $50 administrative fee. I don't have a clerk's processing fee on here. Is that on purpose?
Yes.
Okay. For a total amount of $300. Mr. McNeil will have 30 days to pay. I believe Mr. McNeil has a Niceville address, so this will be mailed to him. All right. All right. Anything else, Officer Ford?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Can
All
we
right.
dismissed?
Yes, sir. I believe that's our last case. And with that, Good morning. I'm going to go ahead and call to order the October 8th, 2025 Code Compliance Hearing Meeting. My name is Hayward Dykes. I'll be the special magistrate this morning hearing these matters. If you have a cell phone, I would ask that you either turn it off or put it on vibrate. At this time, if you're able, you please stand. We'll do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all. If you can be seated. Are there, do I have the minutes? Here they are. All right, I've got the September minutes. Sign these. Are there any announcements regarding the agenda? Anything drop off? Anything added? All right, thank you. At this time, we'll go ahead and do swearing in, and we'll do this all at one time. So anyone who plans to speak, that would mean provide testimony, or if you wish to provide evidence of any kind, I'd ask that you please stand and raise your right hand. If you think you're going to speak, that's fine. If you decide you're not going to speak, that's fine as well. We want to have everybody sworn. These are quasi-judicial, so if you all raise your right hand, do you all swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? All right, thank you all. You can be seated. All right. And just a little ground rules. So what will happen is when we call the case, I'll allow the county to present their side of the matter. The respondent or property owner, whoever's here on their behalf, will have the opportunity to ask the officer any questions they may have, review any evidence, and then afterwards we'll allow that person or persons to present testimony or evidence in defense of the matter. All right. With that being said, our first matter is CE 18-00518. Property owner is listed as Richard Brooks, Brooks. The address is 51 South Lake Drive in Santa Rosa Beach, Florida. Is Mr. Brooks here? All right, Mr. Brooks? I'm sorry, come on up. One other thing, these matters are being recorded, so whenever you're going to speak, if you'll come up to the podium and speak into the microphone, make sure that that's on. We record all these matters. So I'm sorry, sir, what was your name again?
Jim Yamshak, on behalf of my 87-year-old father-in-law, Richard Brooks, who's in Birmingham. I drove in from Birmingham this morning.
Yes, sir. How do you spell that last name?
Yamshak.
All right, Mr. Yamshak. All right, Mr. Yamshak, you can grab a seat where you put your stuff, and then we'll allow the county to present their case, and then you'll have an opportunity, as I said, to question, or then at that point present any evidence you wish to present on behalf of your father-in-law. All right. Any questions, sir? No. You ready? All right, good. All right. We ready? All right, go ahead.
Good morning. I'm Georgina Hicks, Co-Compliance Officer. I am submitting my final summary report and presentation and testimony for the record, case number 1800518. This property is in the unincorporated area of Walton County and subject to the Land Development Code, Chapter 7. The property is located at 51 Lake Drive in Santa Rosa County. Parcel number is 193S1810000H0040. The property owner is listed as Richard Brooks, Family Living Trust. And the violations that were cited were 4.07.04 for White Sands violation. The original complaint was submitted to our office on February the 6th, 2018 for building without permits, clearing on a coastal dune lake protection zone, and importation of non-white material in a white sand zone. The property was found in violation on November 21st, 2019 by the Code Board, ordering the property owner to remove the gravel and replace it with a white material that was approved by the Planning Department. The property owner was not in compliance by the deadline given by the Code Board, and an affidavit of noncompliance was issued on January 7th of 2020. And the property owner, during that time after, the property owner replaced the gravel with white material, and which allowed him to achieve compliance, and that was dated on February 19th of 2020.
An affidavit of compliance was recorded on February 20th of 2020, stating that the property was in compliance as of the 19th of February 2020. This property is being brought to you today because they have an outstanding fine and lien on the property of $3,000, and the property owner has requested the fine to be reduced.
All right. So we're here on a fine reduction. I'll wait to allow Mr. Yamchak to present, unless Ms. Hicks, you want to provide what the county's position is on the requested fine reduction.
The county has no objection to a fine reduction. The property was brought into compliance, but we do request that the magistrate requires the property owner to pay a minimum of 50% of the fine that was imposed.
All right. So of the 3,000, the county's requesting today 1,500 be the,
Yes, sir.
or 1,500 reduction would be the maximum. All right.
However, I
Thank you,
just did want to add that there was no administrative fine that was ordered in the final order, so that would not also be in.
Right, I wouldn't
asked
impose that
today.
if that's not requested. All right, thank you, ma'am. Mr. Yamchak, do you have any questions of Ms. Hicks?
No, Your Honor, no
Okay,
questions
great.
of Ms. Hicks.
All right, Mr. Yamchak, I understand you're here on behalf of your father-in-law, Mr. Brooks. I'll hear any testimony. They're willing to at least go to 50%. I'm sure you may want to have a different number, but if not, let me know.
All right, good morning, Your Honor. I'm going to keep this the Reader's Digest version of a lot of drama and what's occurred here. So, as I mentioned, father-in-law's 87 years old. Both live in Birmingham. He built a home here in 1975, 1,000 square foot Jim Walter vacation home. He and his wife, at the age of 80, decided that they were going to move here. So they wanted to close in the bottom of the house. His health was starting to fail a little bit, but they still wanted to do this, so my wife and I were supporting them. Came down there, he met with a couple builders and chose John Carroll, which I'm sure the county has run in with him several times. But after contracting with him and giving him a $40,000 down payment, the gentleman started work. My father-in-law then started receiving notifications in Birmingham that his home is not in compliance. So apparently this John Carroll brought in gravel that wasn't, and he lives on 30A there still. Brought in this gravel, started doing work, didn't get permits, even though he told my father-in-law that he did. So my father-in-law, by being mobility constrained, couldn't come down here. I came down here, took a look at the property. I'm not a builder, but I could tell how shoddy a work it was. When my father-in-law spoke to Mr. Carroll, he said, I'm going to get it all under compliance. I got it under control. We're squared away. Don't worry about it. Everything's good. Started getting more notifications that nothing was in compliance. I drove down again. We had not been receiving any communication at all after he had taken this $40,000 from my father-in-law. All he did was do a little bit work on a deck. He became non-compliant, non-responsive to us on anything, and basically said he's done with the job and wasn't giving any refund. I found another builder that was trusted that lives on Dalton Drive that built most of the homes on Dalton Drive down there, Richard Robbins. He came over, inspected everything, and said, this all needs to be torn down. It's wrong. You don't have permits. We're going to have to start this thing all over again. So my father-in-law gave him another $40,000, and actually the work was finalized, completed with quality work. So being in Birmingham and being 80 years old, and by the way, 3 weeks after he gave that gentleman the first gentleman, John Carroll, the $40,000 deposit, my mother-in-law was diagnosed with brain cancer. So that then put a whole damper on the project and changed the plan because they realized that she passed 4 months ago, unfortunately, right before Mother's Day, but they realized they were not going to be able to move here. She needed care at UAB in Birmingham. So my father-in-law in his 80s trying to manage this was just not capable of doing any of it. Got taken advantage of by a builder. The builder kept telling him he was taking care of everything, not to worry about it with the county. He trusted him. And until we got the new builder and got it all under compliance, We talked to attorneys. We were going to try and sue. They know this guy. They said, you can try and sue him, but you're not going to get anything. He opens businesses, shuts them down, takes people's money, opens businesses, shut them down, take money. So you're throwing money at me that you shouldn't even waste your time with. So I don't disagree that the property was out of compliance. We tried to get the builder to fix it. He said he was. And then we finally had to get a new builder. That's why it took time, a new contract, a new phase of work. And really, he's out $40,000 now. And unfortunately, he's a rule follower. It pained him here, but when people tell him, you know, he's old school. When they tell him they're going to do something, he shakes hands and he agrees. And that's why I'm here, unfortunately, sir.
Right, understood. Yeah, it's unfortunate.
Yeah.
We got to be in these situations.
Yep.
So you've heard, and I appreciate the context and, you know, you driving down to represent your father-in-law. Well, you've heard the county. They're willing to, or at least as we sit here right now, they've requested that we reduce this from 3,000 to 1,500. What would you request on behalf of your father-in-law?
Look, I agreed that we were out of compliance. We would have handled this immediately up front. I would say, I think $500 is fair. I'm not saying not guilty here, but given the circumstances, giving out 40 grand, and the fact that we did bring it into compliance as soon as the builder walked on us and we found a new one, we did it immediately. You know, my 82-year-old father-in-law couldn't drive down here and put white sand down. Just didn't even know people here to even help with that, and I apologize on his behalf.
Ms. Hicks, do you have any questions for Mr. Yamchak? Okay. Mr. Yamchak, I appreciate it. You can grab a seat.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right, I'll close the evidence portion of this. Based on the testimony and evidence, I don't know if I had a tell or what, but Mr. Yamchak was exactly where I was at on the fine. So based on the mitigating circumstances and over the county's request that it be reduced to $1,500, I'm going to reduce this fine to $500. The condition will be, Mr. Yamchak, I don't know if you're going to handle this or if your father-in-law, but please pass along. There's no administrative fees, so it's a straight $500. That'll need to be paid within the next 30 days. If it's not paid within the next 30 days, then the $3,000 fine will be imposed, or will remain essentially. All right. No, sir. Unfortunately, you're gonna have to wait for this order to work its way through the system. Probably first of next week, you could probably contact the clerk's office and then get this paid. All right. Any questions from the county or regarding the order? All right. All right. I've signed that order. Mr. Yamchak, you're free to go. All right. Our next case, excuse me, is another fine reduction. This is case number CE 240905. Property owner is listed as CW and RW Holdings, LLC. The address is 125 Tradewinds Drive, Santa Rosa Beach, Florida. All right. Do we have anybody here on behalf of CW and RW Holdings, LLC? All right. And your name, sir? My name's Luke. All right. All right. Mr. Bennett, whenever you're ready.
Okay. For the record, I'm Code Compliance Officer Darnell Bennett. And for the record, I'm submitting my final summary and case report and testimony regarding case number CE-24-00905. The property is located at 125 Tradewinds Drive, Santa Rosa Beach, Florida, 32459. Parcel number is 04-3 South-20-3420-00B-0100. Property owners are CW and RW Holdings, LLC. This property is in an unincorporated area of Walton County and is therefore subject to Land Development Code, Chapter 7, and county ordinances. The original violations that were cited was 1.1300A, development approvals, and 1.1309C, building permits. This case was heard before you on April 9th, 2025. The property owner was given until June 9th, 2025 to bring property into compliance. However, due to delays in obtaining the necessary approvals and permits from planning and building departments, the compliance process extended past the compliance date, but they did obtain a compliance on August 27th, 2025. The property owner has since paid all administration fees. And considering the efforts made and the challenges encountered, I request, what, you want my request right now, or recommendation?
Sure. Yeah, go ahead.
That 75% elimination of the fees accrued be waived.
All right, so based on what the county's provided, we have $100 per day. There were 78 days of non-compliance based on the county's calculation, which would impose a fee of $7,800. If a 25% reduction, or I'm sorry, 75% reduction, that would result in a $1,950 fine, thereby eliminating approximately 5,000. There's another admin fee. I saw that there, I guess for today.
Yes, sir, for today.
Because I saw that Mr. Neighbor had paid the $145 already. So, okay, so then what the county's requesting is based on the fine amount and the additional admin fee of $23, the amount requested, at least from the county this morning, is $1,973. All right? Do you have any questions, of Officer Bennett?
No, sir.
Okay, if you want to come on, step up, I'll hear from you.
Yes, sir. I haven't been to a code enforcement hearing before, so do I address you as judge or magistrate?
You just say magistrate, that's fine.
Okay. Well, magistrate, it's, I hate that I'm here today. I hate that, things aren't the way they used to be. I've been here since, 1996. I've been a practicing professional engineer here since 97 in Walton County. And actually, I had a house 2 blocks away from this that I lived in for 4 years. And back in those days, my neighbors helped me build my house. I helped them build their house. And unfortunately, those days are long gone. So essentially, the Reader's Digest version, as the other gentleman said, of this case is in early December of 2024. A friend of mine's mom, he asked me if I would help his mom with this code enforcement case. And so I went over to the house to look at it, and if I could provide something to you, Judge, to look at. I'll be referring to that right there.
Okay. And I don't know, Officer Bennett, have you seen this? Or do you want to come look at it? It's just looks like a survey as well as 6 photographs of a deck, fencing, pool area.
It's the site plan that we submitted for the BPR.
All right.
Yeah, I have access to that.
All right, great. Well then, Mr. Neighbor, I can keep this?
Yes, sir.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so I went over to look at it, and essentially what she did, she's an elderly woman. She hired some people to build her a deck. And so some friends of hers told her about some people that had done work for them. She hired them to come build her a deck. They did not pull any permits. They did a good job building the deck. It was well built, but they didn't pull any permits for it. And so, you know, the violation, I think, started with parking out front from the contractors or contractor and turned into code enforcement seeing that there was a new deck. She hadn't pulled any permits, and so that's what the violation is for not pulling permits to build the deck. So I called Billy Bearden because I've known Billy Bearden for 25 years. I went and saw Billy and I said, "Hey Billy, what do I need to do to try to get this resolved? What's the best way to handle this?" And he told me that he would need a letter from me stating that the deck would be able to handle a 50 pound a square foot live load for 2023 building code, and it would need to be signed and sealed. And he would approve an after the fact permit, except that it had to go through planning first. And so if it was just a matter of trying to, certifying what was there, would have been no big deal. So Billy told me to come see Dawnese Way. So that's I sent her an email on December 19th of 2024, and copied Darnell with it at what I thought was Darnell's email address. It turns out Darnell's email address had changed, but nonetheless, December 19th, I sent her an email and I sent Darnell an email, basically showing some photographs and asking for direction on what I needed to do. I met with Dawnese about a week later, and I sat down with her and explained the situation and asked her what I needed to do. Dawnese told me, if you can just get a survey that shows the property lines and the deck limits of the deck, get the survey, bring it to me, and show that you meet the setbacks, you'll be good to go. And I'll approve your planning, and then you can submit your letter to Billy, and we'll be done. And so this was this is at the end of December of 24. So she hired a surveyor. She hired a Interlight Surveying and engineering to come survey the deck. And unfortunately, surveyors are not very fast around here, but we got the survey probably 3 weeks later, and the survey showed that the deck was 2.6 feet off the property line. So on the north side, it was 2.6 feet off the property line. On the south side, it was about 6.5 feet off the property line. And so the picture that I pointed to when I handed it to you, that's the part that was out of compliance. Yeah, running down the side.
Yep.
So the rear was never an issue because it was 6.5 feet off the property line. It was that side was the issue because it was 2.6. So I brought the survey back to Dawnese and met with Dawnese, and I said, "Hey, here's our survey. We're at 2.6 feet off the property line." She was very kind and brought out the land development code. We went through the land development code. There is an exception for decks under setbacks that allows the deck to be 4 feet off the property line if it's 2 feet or in height or less. So I went back to my friend's mom and I said, "Hey, you're gonna have to hire somebody to cut this deck back to get at least 4 feet off the property line." So she couldn't get the original contractor to come back out. She hired another contractor, and it cost her almost $10,000 because they had to redo all the pilings all the way down that side to trim it back. So she hired somebody, they got the work done. We had the surveyor come back out, and there's a second survey that's in our package that shows that the new deck met the setback requirements. So I brought that survey back to Dawnese and met with her and Bridget as well, and showed them that we met the setbacks, that the deck had been trimmed, there was no more setback issue. And so they directed me to submit for a BPR. The BPR process was not smooth. A number of things happened. One is that the planning department requested that we do a stormwater design for the project that would be reviewed through DRMP as a lot of record stormwater permit that would be part of our development order. And so they also asked for a site plan, which is that's what I just handed you a minute ago. And so I had some disputes with the planning department about what they were requesting because I'd already provided them an as-built survey. If you have an as-built survey, you don't really need a site plan. The as-built survey is the as-built survey. And so they wouldn't consider my BPR application complete until I submitted a site plan, which is what you see there. I did it because I had no choice. It was obviously a box they had to check, but it's literally the survey that we had already provided them along with photographs. That's literally all it was. And so anyways, in trying to get through the BPR process, and meeting with Bridget, I told her that I did not believe she was correct, that we needed a stormwater permit because an individual stormwater permit is only required on lots of record. It is not required for a residential home that's in a master stormwater planned facility. And so
this subdivision has a master stormwater?
yes, it does.
Okay.
And so there was an unbelievable amount of time in between what they asked me for and them agreeing that I was correct, that it's a master stormwater plans subdivision, and I did not have to have a separate stormwater permit. And so I have all sorts of emails, I have all sorts of communication, I have all sorts of dialogue back and forth with Darnell, and I have kept Darnell up to speed on what we're doing the whole way through this process. So we didn't thumb our nose at anybody. We literally were just trying to find a way to make it through the planning process. And so once they agreed that no stormwater was required, they came back and said that we had to have elevations on the deck. And so that they came back and asked for a topographic survey. So we surveyed it the first time, showed that it was too close. We cut the deck back to meet the setbacks, did another survey that showed it met the setbacks, and that wasn't acceptable either. They wanted a topographic survey to show the elevation of the ground and the elevation of the deck. So we hired them to do a third survey on the property. So this is the third time they've been out there. We got the topographic survey and submitted that along with my site plan and a stormwater certification sheet, which is a one-page sheet that's submitted for projects that are in master plan stormwater facilities. And honestly, the planning department, while they were nice and cordial, the amount of time it took for us to get our planning approval was just unbelievable. Once we got our BPR, I submitted my certified letter to Mr. Bearden, and we had our development order probably in 4 days. And so we literally spent months going through surveying and the planning process, and it's I'm kind of used to doing all this stuff, so it doesn't bother me that much, but for her to have to deal with all this has just been a lot. And she acknowledges that she didn't do it right, but she didn't know what she was getting into. She thought when she hired a contractor that they would do what they were supposed to do, and they did. And so access from the back of her house is important to her because the front of her house has steps and then a fairly steep driveway that goes, walkway that goes to her driveway. And it's much easier for her to walk out of the back of her house to get to her car than it is to walk out of the front of her house to get to the car. That's the whole reason they built the deck. And so they didn't build the deck to try to, cause harm to anybody, but they built the deck to try to make it easier for her to make it to her car. And so I'll be happy to answer any kind of questions you have, and I don't want to dig into this stack of emails that I have, but but we've been coordinating with Darnell, Dawnice, and Bridget and others in the planning department the whole way, and we feel like $500 would be enough punishment for the thousands and thousands of dollars that she spent trying to fix it.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Naver. Do you have any questions, Officer Bennett? Okay. All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I don't necessarily need the, excuse me, I don't necessarily need the emails and whatnot. I'll take Mr. Naver's testimony at face value. Officer Bennett didn't appear to have any questions or dispute any of the claims made. Based on that, I'll accept into evidence as well Mr. Neighbors, I guess we'll just call this a site plan. So with that being said, the county is requesting a 75% reduction to $1,950 with a $23 admin fee. Mr. Neighbor, on behalf of CW and RW Holdings, has requested a $500 fee, or a reduction to $500. I'll go ahead and close the evidence portion. Based on the testimony and evidence, I find that a reduction is warranted, and over the county's recommendation, I will reduce the fine from $7,800 to $500. There will be the additional $23 administrative fee, so it'll be a $523 total fee. And as I don't know if you heard me earlier, Mr. Neighbor, you'll need to let, and I don't even know if you'd said the owner's name, but whoever the representative is for CW and RW Holdings LLC, they'll need to pay that within 30 days. In the event they don't pay that within 30 days, then the original fine will be reimposed. Understood? Yes, sir. Okay. That takes about a week, you said? Yeah, it'll probably be Monday before it gets in the system. Is that a fair statement?
Monday, Tuesday.
Okay. So yeah, I would just call up here probably before anybody drives up here or drives to the clerk's office to make sure it's in the system. All right, I've signed that order. Any questions, Officer Bennett or Mr. Neighbor, about the order?
No, sir.
All right, thank you, gentlemen. The next case we have is CE 25-01480. Property owner listed as Linda Bryant, and the address is 443 Howard Street, Niceville, Florida. I believe this is your case, Mr. Bennett, or Officer Bennett? Yes. Okay. And who do we have with us this morning? Is it still morning?
They're the property owners.
All right. So, all right.
They were not sworn.
All right. Can you both raise your right hand? Do you both swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
All right, thank you. And are you Miss Linda Bryant? All right, and what's your name, sir?
Cecil.
Cecil? All right, Cecil Bryant. All right, thank you, sir. So we will allow, I don't know if how much of the last one you saw, but we'll allow Officer Bennett to present his testimony and evidence. Then you'll have an opportunity to question Officer Bennett, and then I'll hear any testimony or evidence you wish to present, all right? All right, Officer Bennett, whenever you're ready.
For the record, I'm Code Compliance Officer Darnell Bennett. I'm submitting my final summary report, presentation, and testimony in reference to case number CE-25-01480. The property is 443 Howard Street, Niceville, Florida, 32578. Parcel number is 30-1 south-2-1-41100-016-0010. This property is in an unincorporated area of Walton County and therefore is subject to the Land Development Code, Chapter 7, and county ordinances. The property owner is listed as Linda D. Bryant. Violation cited is 5.07.09C, junk and or debris. Initial complaint was about junk and debris, couches, refrigerator, old furniture on the property. An initial inspection, I conducted an initial inspection on May 28th, 2025, where I did observe quite a bit of miscellaneous junk and or debris on the front of the property. A follow-up inspection was conducted on June 3rd, at which time a notice of violation was placed on the property with a compliance date of June 30th, 2025. That notice of violation was also certified mailed on that same day. On July 2nd, 2025, I met with Mr. Cecil, who explained to me that the home on the property had burned down back in January of 2025. The property owner had attempted to obtain a dumpster from the county, but could not due to some challenges with the right-of-way. Additional inspections were conducted on August 5th and August 28th, 2025, where I found that most of the debris had been shielded with additional fencing, but there were still a few items visible, such as a tractor, a washer and dryer, and a dishwasher. On September 20th, 2025, a notice of hearing was hand-delivered where I met with Mr. Cecil and discussed the remaining the possibilities of gaining compliance through the removal of the washer and dryer, the dishwasher, and making the temporary fence a permanent fence, and also correcting some overgrowth and removal of tarps as shielding, which is not allowed. That same notice of hearing was posted to the courthouse on September 23rd and certified mailed that same day. The property owner failed to bring the property into compliance within the allotted posted notice of violation time, which was June 30th. But proper notice was given as prescribed by code. As of the most recent inspection, as of yesterday, October 7th, 2025, the property is now in compliance. But I do ask that the magistrate find that it was in violation past the notice of violation date of June 30th, 2025.
So let me make sure I have that correctly. So after the notice of hearing was issued, but before our hearing today, the property was brought into compliance based on your inspection?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you're requesting that a fine be imposed, or are you just asking that I acknowledge or note that the property was out of compliance, and that while it was brought into compliance, it make a finding that because of the prior non-compliance would allow for expedited, essentially, as a repeat offender?
Yes, sir. Okay. Yeah.
All right. Ms. Bryant or Mr. Bryant, do you have any questions of Officer Bennett? And I'll try to explain in better detail what he's asking for if you don't understand.
No, sir, I don't have no question for him. Me and him talk.
All right. So while you're here today, obviously, Officer Bennett had found evidence of a violation, got a report, came out, inspected. While all this was going on and before our hearing, as we sit here this morning, Mr. Bennett's been out to your property at least one more time and found that everything is in compliance with Walton County Land Development Code. So what he's requesting, and what I'm inclined to do, is there would not be any any fines imposed, but what we would do is make a finding that there was a prior violation. In the event that you violate, there's a future violation, and it's got to be the same thing. So if it's something different, that's a whole different track. But if it's for the same thing, junk and debris, then they can do what we would be designating you as a repeat offender. And then a lot of the notices and the things, that take us 2, 3, 4 months to get here, we can expedite those. So there would not be any fine today, but that, I just want you to be aware, that's what the county's requesting in the event the property is seen to become out of compliance based on the claim of junk, litter, and debris. All right. Did I explain that well enough? Y'all understand what they're requesting?
Yeah, I talked to the officer. I'm going to be out of compliance again when I start tearing my house down. That's the reason I was out of compliance to begin with, because my house burnt and I was trying to get things done. See what I maybe had left to salvage. And I've been fighting sickness for 5 years. I've had cancer.
Understood.
So I'm not as fast as I used to be or as strong as I used to be, you know. But I'm still trying, but there was no record whatsoever that my house burnt on none of the paperwork that was brought to me or sent to me. Or put on the mailbox at the house. That's where it was put. But there was no record that my house burnt, and that's what I was doing at all. Just like they didn't care,
Right.
you know?
Well,
That's the way I took it.
I guess is, you know, the redeeming thing is that you're in compliance today. So there's not gonna be a fine. I'm not gonna issue a
Yeah.
fine. County's not asking for a fine. But I think what we need to understand is when you do begin demolition or you start to do that work, you'll need to do it timely. You'll need to make sure you got permits if permits are required.
But I didn't fill out all the paperwork and got it, I did that in January.
Yeah, and sounds like you're working along.
But we haven't gotten the dumpster.
And they were supposed to brought me some dumpsters in January.
Yeah, I don't know what the status is.
But that was a conflict of putting it on the, part of it would have been on the right of way, what they considered the right of way. And that way they shouldn't drop them off there. It was in my yard, but it's still considered county right of way.
Yes, sir. Okay. Well, do y'all have any other questions or anything that you want to present, testimony or evidence this morning?
I guess.
Well, we appreciate both of you showing up. So, Officer Bennett, do you have anything additional to add or any questions of Mr. or Ms. Bryant?
No, sir. There's just the $73 admin fee.
Good. All right. So, I'm going to go ahead and close the evidence portion. I'll make the following findings of fact and conclusions of law. I'll find the property located at 443 Howard Street in Niceville, Florida, is in the unincorporated area of Walton County, Florida, and is therefore subject to the Walton County Land Development Code. I'll find that based on the testimony and evidence, a violation did previously exist, specifically a violation of 5.07.09C, exterior storage of non-operating vehicles, junk, or debris. That while that violation did exist, based on the testimony presented by Mr. Bennett, the property has been brought into compliance. Accordingly, no fine in this matter shall be imposed. However, future offenses of the same nature as cited in this case will be considered a repeat offense and subject to fines as such. It doesn't mean you won't get a hearing. Doesn't mean you can't come here and argue your case. Just means, you know, as I said, it'll be a little more expedited. With that being said, I will impose a $73 administrative fee. You'll have, can you pay that within 30 days? Okay, I see you nodding. So I'm going to put that in as 30 days to pay that. And that will conclude your case. So there's no fine. I would give this about a week, give or take, and then you can call the clerk's office and coordinate payment. All right? Any questions? All right. Thank you, Mr. and Ms. Bryant, for showing up, and you're dismissed if you want to leave. All right? Our next case is CE 25-01444. Property owner is listed as Amor at Gulf Place LLC. Is there a representative for Amor, AMOR, at Gulf Place LLC? Okay, I don't see anybody coming up. The address is 40 Town Center Loop in Santa Rosa Beach, Florida. All right. Nothing? All right. Whenever you're ready.
I'm Officer Jennifer King with Walton County Code Compliance. For the record, I'm submitting my final summary case report and testimony in regards to case number 25-01444. The property is located at 40 Town Center Loop, Santa Rosa Beach, Florida, 32459. Parcel number is 033S203400000220017. Property owners listed as Amor at Gulf Place LLC. This property is in the unincorporated area of Walton County and subject to the Land Development Code, Chapter 7, and the other county ordinances. The violations cited are 1.13.06, post-development order and post-permit changes, and 1.13.13, certificate of land use compliance. We received a complaint about a large boat on center blocks being set up in the middle of the Artiston kiosk at Golf Place. I conducted an initial inspection on May 13th, 2025. Upon my initial inspection of the property, I observed a boat placed on blocks within the stormwater retention area. At the time, all kiosks were closed and no activity was taking place. A notice of violation was posted on the property for post-development changes. Subsequent inspections revealed the merchandise and beverages were being sold from the kiosk. It was later confirmed that the businesses were operating on site did not possess a certificate of land use compliance for this location. Additional violations were also noted, including the installation of lighting around trees, merchandise displays located on the decking outside of the kiosk, and the establishment of an additional booth for hair braiding. I was advised by the planning that the PUD had already built out their commercial square footage and would not be permitted to add more. I informed the agent, Mr. Goodson, who was acting on behalf of the business, of the new violations and the steps required to bring the property into compliance. An application for a certificate of land use compliance was submitted to the planning department. However, additional documentations were requested by planning. As of this morning, the required documents have not been submitted, and planning staff has put the property owner on notice that the CLUC application will be closed unless they provide the documentation within the next 30 days. An updated NOV with a compliance due date of September 1st, 2025 was hand-delivered on July 23rd, 2025 when an affidavit of service was completed. The property owners failed to bring the site into compliance by the stated deadline. A notice of hearing was sent via certified mail to the address listed on the property appraiser's website and received. A notice of hearing was also posted on the property into the courthouse annex on 9/24/2025. On October 1st, 2025, an application for a less than minor development order amendment was submitted and is currently under review by the planning department. Planning staff has said that the submitted application, LTM 25-000143, is not complete and it cannot be processed until they submit the missing documentations and pay their fees. On October 7th, 2025, a pre-inspection hearing was conducted. During this inspection, it was confirmed that the merchandise, lighting, and hair braiding booth have been removed and the kiosk have been closed. However, the boat remains in the retention area, which is a continued violation. While some of the original violations have now been addressed, they were not corrected by the compliance due date previously established. Therefore, I respectfully request that the property be found in violation for failure to comply within the required timeline. Included in the evidence packet are inspection photos showing the current conditions of the site, including the boat's location, prior merchandise displays, and evidence of previous business activity. Email correspondence from the planning department requesting additional documentation in connection with the CLUC application, and I respectfully request the packet be entered into evidence.
All right, I'll accept that into evidence. What's the county's recommendation?
Since they have submitted the application, I spoke with planning staff and they said that they could actually approve that application within 60 days. So I'm requesting 60 days to remove the boat or obtain approval for the DO modifications, or a $250 per day fine to accrue with a $73 admin fee.
So 60 days, did you say 250?
Yes, sir.
And that was $73?
Yes, sir.
For the admin fee. All right. So am I correct in saying that the shops themselves, I know there was some language, or one of the things I read in the packet, that some of the shops may be out of violation because they're built out?
Yes, there's like a little hair braiding booth and it had henna tattoos.
But if that's
Separate.
closed, there's no.
They
no-
said they can move that into a kiosk, or they have to remove it, period.
Okay. But I guess I'm just trying to make clear.
They did remove that, booth.
So the only thing that we're dealing with as we sit here today is the fact that they haven't received approval for the placement of the boat in the.
And they
the retention-
didn't, shut down the business till after the compliance due date. They didn't remove, the lighting or the displays, so it's all post-permit changes.
Right, but those have been resolved.
Yes, but not by the compliance due date.
Well, that would kind of trigger maybe what Mr. Officer Bennett had in the last hearing.
Correct,
that-
because we believe that they're gonna reopen the shop when season comes in. And I believe there are members of the community here, if you wanted to hear from them. I know this has been an aggravating situation for the community because they're operating without permits and approvals. They keep
Okay, well, I guess what I want to make sure is, on the order, we have both 1.13.06, post-development order and post-permit changes, and 1.13.13, certificate of land use compliance. So those, it would appear to me those would still both be in play, correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay. All right, is there somebody specific or persons specific that are here to speak on this Amore at Gulf Place LLC? Yeah, just get maybe right there where the microphone is. And then state your name for the record, and then I'll allow you a little bit of time to tell me what you want to, as far as testimony.
Thank you. My name is Ann Malone. I'm employed by Community Management Associates, who has a condominium association management agreement with Gulf Place Community Owners Association, of which I represent them as their condominium managers on site.
And Ms. Malone, what do you want me to, what do you want to provide for me to consider today?
Our concern overall is that we do have rules and regulations as a part of the association, of which the group or more has not been in compliance with, and continue to proceed first and not remove things per request in a timely manner. We also have a design review committee. That's one of the steps that they're supposed to complete a form asking for any alterations. That has not been occurring. We asked politely, professionally, via email, also to remove the tattoo group. That was totally disrespected. In fact, they had put it in front of their ice cream store located at 37 Town Center Loop. Later on, moved it into what they call the artist area. The artist area was originally designed for local artists, of which they said they would be including. They never had anyone from an artist element within those huts. So that was a concern. The boat we see also as a life safety issue, even though it's been cited as a water detention retention area, of which it sits in. There's no guard around it, protection from a child getting up into it and possibly having an accident. We realize it is their parcel, but we're also trying to say to them from a liability side, it is a risk. We're not really sure what the attraction is with that particular item there. They had previously put in an inflatable pool with large bubbles where children would get in the bubble, it would inflate, and then they could spin them in the water. That was also not allowed or permitted through the county. It was also a safety risk issue. So the first time they knew that that was water retention detention area, nothing should have been placed there. Instead, they removed the pool and inserted the boat.
All right. And you have a gentleman there with you?
My name's Andrew Gibson. I'm owner at 19 Town Center Loop. 4B, I also serve on the board of directors for Gulf Place. And the main thing I want to clarify to Your Honor is that although the lights were removed from the trees, which should have never been there, and this tattoo hair thing, and all the merchandise that they had out on this walkway, which is a violation, all that is gone right now, but they're gonna open up again. And it's just, they haven't made the money they anticipated, this is my guess, and they went ahead and closed it up for now. So in my mind, in fellow owners' minds, they really haven't complied. They're just stashing it away till they can bring it back out. So we would request an order that identifies they have violated, so if they're a repeat offender, move forward quicker.
Right, okay, understood. I think that's on the table, based on what the county's presented so far. Anything else that you want me to consider before we close this out?
Comment, they did have a group known as the Monkey Juice. They had operated there, again, I believe, without permits or licenses, and there was no fresh water. So that was also brought up as an issue from a health side. And they did close it down. But again, I just believe that they need to understand through the Walton County and our association what is permissible and not. And I don't believe they're seeking that prior to installation of items.
Okay. All right. Mr. Gibson and Ms. Malone, I appreciate the testimony this morning. Anybody else have anything? Okay. Officer, let's see. I want to repeat back. So the request is 60 days to be brought into compliance, and that would be to bring under 1.13.06 post-development order and pre-permit or post-permit changes, and 1.13.13 certificate of land use compliance, and then 60 days to be brought into compliance, $250 per day fine in the event the property is not brought into compliance. I guess my only concern is you were told by county planning that based on what they have currently, they believe they can do a 60-day turnaround?
If they actually submit whatever is still outstanding. I know the fee has not been paid.
All right. While she's looking at that, what would be the alleged violation that they've complied with that would allow me to designate them as a repeat offender? What would that ordinance? Because I mean, I've got two listed, so if they're still outstanding, then I can't say they've complied with that section of the code.
No, just the, so underneath the post-permit changes, there were several items listed. And I didn't know if you were going to break those down or not, but I just want to make it clear, like they removed the lighting, but that was a post-permit change. Any commercial business has to have a lighting plan, and they made changes to the existing lighting plan. In a tattoo booth that was outside of the kiosk, that was still a post-permit change. That was separate, but they removed that.
Well, I understand. I guess my question is, how do I get there? Let's put it in context of one that we just dealt with a little bit ago. If I have junk and debris in my yard, I have a car, I have an old boat, I have an old refrigerator, and I remove that refrigerator and the boat, but I don't remove the car, then I still have a violation under the code, but then I don't know, why would I?
So the boat, the only outstanding one for development orders, post-development order changes would be the boat.
Okay.
If they remove the boat or get it approved or they're less than minor, then they would be in compliance.
Right.
But we just, for the record, all those other modifications that they have resolved, they didn't do that until after the compliance due date.
Right,
And even including the cluck, because right now, they don't appear to be operating.
but that would be under the, 1.1313 certificate of land use compliance, or 1.1306?
The cluck, so like the lighting, the displays, that's the 1.1306, because those all would require, it was post-development orders. They would have to do a less than minor to get those things approved.
Right.
And then operating a business was the 1.13.13.
Right,
I know.
maybe I'm not expressing it
Yeah,
sufficiently. Like I said, if there are 10 different violations under 1.1306, and then we sit here today and you say, hey, they've cleaned up 5 of those 10, but they still got 5, and we want you to find them if they don't get those other 5, within the time period. I've never seen a situation where we've taken the fact that, hey, they've cleaned up part of their yard, or they've complied with part of it, therefore we want to mark them as a repeat offender.
No, it's just if they do it again later.
Right. Well, I mean, the fact that I issue an order today, if they're in violation today of that code,
Yes.
then wouldn't they be a repeat offender if they violate a month from now?
No, I think I was just trying to bring up the point because they were all listed on the notice of violation to list all
Right.
these.
And I think
But as long as we
question
get
would
them found violation of the post-permit change period, it don't necessarily have to be,
Well, I guess what I'm saying is, my understanding of it would be, and we'll just again use the kind of junk and debris example. If I have a boat, a car, refrigerator, I come in, I clean up 2 of those, you come in today and say, Mr. Dykes didn't clean up everything in his yard, and
Right.
he's in violation of the junk and debris ordinance. I want you to find him in violation. And then I'm found in violation today. And the order says I'm in violation because I didn't clean up the last, the refrigerator, or the vehicle rather. Then the next time, if you come out and I've cleaned up everything, but then I start piling up, old 4-wheelers out in the yard, wouldn't that provide the county the repeat violation? Because now I'm, again, have junk and debris in my yard,
yeah.
even though it's a month later. Okay, so I guess what I'm getting at is, if I find a violation today under 1.13.06 post-development and 1.13.13 certificate of land use compliance, if there's a violation that falls under those categories, then you would have grounds for a repeat offender.
Correct.
So I don't need to make a finding of, oh, well, they cleaned the lighting up, or they stopped the business.
Yeah, I was just trying to get that on record as saying
I
that they
understand.
did do that.
Okay, so I just want to be clear that the fact that, based on the ultimate finding, you'll have what you need.
Right, that is correct.
All right. Anything else, Officer King?
Yes, sir.
All right. At this time, I'll close the evidence portion of this hearing. I'll make the following findings of fact and conclusions of law. I'll find that the property located at 40 Town Center Loop, Santa Rosa Beach, Florida, is in the unincorporated area of Walton County, Florida, and is therefore subject to the Walton County Land Development Code. Based on the testimony and evidence presented, I do find sufficient evidence to support that a violation has occurred on the property. Specifically, a violation of 1.13.06 post-development order and post-permit changes, 1.13.13 certificate of land use compliance, based on the county's request, I will provide that the property must be brought into compliance within 60 days. Okay, so they'll get 61 days, so that's what? December what? December the 8th? So on or before December 8th. In the event the property is not brought into compliance on or before December 8th, a $250 per day fine will be imposed. In addition to the fine, there's a $73 administrative fee. That will need to be paid within the next 30 days. All right, and I've signed that order. Any questions, Officer King, regarding? All right, thank you, ma'am. Our next case is CE 25-01456. Property owner is listed as Michael Holt, Holt, and the address is listed as 87 Tangelo Street in Defuniak Springs, Florida. Is Mr. Holt here, or someone for Mr. Holt? Okay, Mr. Holt, if you want to come up here and grab a seat. And Officer Hicks, this appears to be your case. All right, whenever you're ready.
Good morning. I am Officer Georgina Hicks. For the record, I'm submitting my final summary report and presentation of testimony in reference to case 25-01456. This property is in the unincorporated area of Walton County and subject to the Land Development Code, Chapter 7. The property is located at 87 Tangelo Street in Defuniak Springs, 32433. The property owner is Michael Holt, and the violations cited are 1.13.00A for development approvals, 1.13.09C for building permits, and 2.02.00P for RVs and campers. On 5/14/2025, our office received a complaint in reference to a noise from a generator that was constantly running. On 5/15, the previous code compliance officer, who I'm presenting for today, was assigned to the case and conducted an initial inspection. Stated that the inspection revealed a generator running approximately 50 yards from Tangelo Street. The complainant had recently placed a mobile home on his property, and the generator was located right outside of his bedroom window. The code compliance officer also spoke to the property owner, Michael Holt, who stated that he and his spouse have lived in that RV for years, and that the code compliance officer explained to Mr. Holt that RV living is prohibited in Walton County unless you are under an approval from the planning and building departments. And the officer also explained that what action must be taken in order to the property to come into compliance. On 5/19/2025, office notice of violation was mailed to the property owner as well as posted on the property with a compliance due date of 6/19/2025. On 6/5/2025, a reinspection of the property revealed a mini home had been placed on the property and what appeared to be in the building setbacks. Research in the computer showed that no permits had been applied for at that time for the structure. On 6/9/2025, a revised notice of violation was completed reflecting the new violation of the unpermitted structure, the mini home that had been placed on the property. A revised notice of violation was mailed as well as posted on the property. On 7/31, a notice of hearing was completed and mailed to the property owner, and on August the 4th, the notice of hearing was posted on the property. On 9/15, the notice of hearing was posted at the Walton County Courthouse Annex. Proper notice had been given as prescribed by code. On 8/22/2025, the property owner had applied for a BPR for a 16/26 tiny home, and the permit is currently being reviewed by the planning department. As of yesterday, inspection shows that the tiny home and the RV is still present on the property, and And I would like to submit my packet into evidence.
That'll be accepted. Did I hear you correctly that a permit application has been submitted to the county for the tiny home?
It has, and I have also included that in your packet in the back.
Do we have any timelines on when planning's gonna get around to that, or have you spoken to anybody?
I
on what the-
believe that the process has been held up, and maybe Mr. Holt can testify. I believe that the process, there may be some more information that they need, additional information to be able to proceed with the permit.
Okay. All right. Mr. Holt, do you have any questions for Officer Hicks? Okay, thank you, sir. Officer Hicks, you can grab a seat. Mr. Holt, if you'll just make sure that microphone's close to you. We try to record these hearings. So this will be your opportunity to present any testimony or evidence you wish for me to consider.
All right, the building permit, just got a hold up on that. To property appraisal for the septic information, and sent me to the health department. They don't do that. They give me this paperwork, where to go to get the information on the septic, and I gotta get the numbers for a door I gotta put in, and get the building permit that
All right. So sounds like you're in the process of getting your ducks in a row for septic, and then you mentioned some door. With that being said, how long do you think it's going to take you to get those things done so you can get your permit for this tiny home?
just a few weeks. We got to pay $300, $400 for the door. It's gonna take a little time.
And so if you were given 45 days, you think that would be more than enough time? Okay, and is the plan to move into or live in the tiny home? Because as you understand, current county code does not allow RV living. All right.
Transferring to over there.
Okay. Yeah, I'd rather give you a little extra time, for some unforeseen
Yeah, that's all
issue.
we
So, but you feel comfortable that 45 days would be
Yes,
enough
we'll
time?
have it
enough
taken
cushion?
care of.
Okay.
It's been a little slow process.
Yeah, understood. Okay. Officer Hicks, do you have any questions for Mr. Holt?
No.
Okay. What's the county's recommendation on this?
My recommendation is, I originally was 60 days, but 45 is even better. I just wanted to give them ample time. I know that, that as of yesterday, there was some other cars and things that were out there that I'm assuming they're trying to move around to try to make room to get everything kind of settled and adjusted the way they want it, to be able to kind of set up the site the way they want it. So I just was gonna make sure they had plenty enough time to get where they needed to be. I am asking if they do not achieve compliance within that time frame, they will be required to pay $250 a day until compliance is achieved. I also recommend that a $73 administration fee be ordered in addition to that.
Okay. Mr. Holt, you've heard the county, they're fine with the 45 days. Actually, we're looking at maybe 60. What comments, if any, do you have on that?
Yeah, 60 I'd feel safer with, but.
Well, if 60 you'll feel safer with, I don't mind giving you 60. I would encourage you to get it done sooner rather than later, if you can. I know some things are just out of your control. So,
Be actually 61 days, if you don't mind.
Yeah, so similar to the last one, that'll fall on December the 8th, if we give you the 60 plus the extra day since it falls on a weekend. So you would be amenable to that?
Yes, sir. Yes.
All right, at this time, I'll I've already accepted in evidence the county's report and backup materials. I'll close the evidence portion of this hearing. I'll make the following findings of fact and conclusions of law. I'll find that the property located at 87 Tangelo Street in Definiak Springs, Florida, is in the unincorporated area of Walton County, Florida, and is therefore subject to the Walton County Land Development Code. Based on the testimony and evidence presented, I will find that there is sufficient evidence to show that there is a violation of 1.13.00A development approvals, 1.1309C building permit, and 2.02.00P as in Peter, RVs, and campers. Based on the county's recommendation, we'll provide 60 days, actually it's 61, that's December 8th. So you have on or before December 8th of this year, 2025, to bring the property into compliance. Sounds like you're moving in that direction, which is great. I will impose a $250 fine if the property is not brought into compliance on or before that date. I don't know if you were here earlier, Mr. Holt. I would just continue to work diligently. If you shoot over that December 8th date, you can always come back and ask for consideration of a fine reduction. But I would encourage you, sounds like you should have everything done timely. Regardless of whether you bring the property into compliance, you will have to pay a $73 administrative fee. You'll have 30 days to pay that. That'll be paid at the clerk's office. You can pay that probably about this time next week. Did I miss anything, Officer Hicks?
Yes, sir.
All right. Mr. Holt, do you have any questions regarding the order?
No, sir.
All right. Good luck to you, sir. I've signed that order, and you can be dismissed. Thank you, sir. Our next case is CE 25-01694. Property owner is listed as Brennan, Brennan Properties, LLC. And the address is 91 East Oleander Avenue in Definiak Springs. Do I have any representatives here for Brennan Properties, LLC? All right, I don't see anybody standing. Officer Hicks, this is yours as well.
Yes, I am Georgina Hicks. I am a code compliance officer, and for the record, I'm submitting my final summary report and presentation and testimony in reference to case number 25-01694. The property is in the unincorporated area of Walton County and subject to Land Development Code Chapter 7. The property is located at 91 Oleander Avenue in Defuniak Springs, 32433. The property owner is Brennan Properties LLC, and the violations cited are 1.13.00A for development approvals, 1.13.09C for building permits, 2.02.00P, RVs and campers, 2.02.00C, temporary use of an RV, and 2.2.4E, residential density allowed. Also, they were also cited for 5.0709C for junk and debris. That is possibly going to be revised toward my end of my testimony, and I'll explain why. That I'm presenting this case for a former code compliance officer that's no longer employed with us, and the original complaint was sent to our office on 8/22/2025. We received a complaint in reference to people living in sheds. On 8/27, the code compliant officer assigned to the case conducted initial inspection, stated that the inspection revealed that there were 2 mini homes, 2 RVs, and 2 vehicles, and scattered junk and debris among the property. The mini home and the RVs appeared to be occupied, and one of the vehicles appeared to be inoperable. On 8/27, a notice of violation was mailed via certified mail and posted on the property with a compliance due date of 9/26/25. On 8/27/25, a notice of hearing was mailed and also posted on the property. On 9/2/2025, a reinspection of the property showed no changes from the initial inspection. On 9/15/2025, a notice of hearing was posted at the South Walton Courthouse Annex. Proper notice was given as prescribed by the code. On 9/11/2025, the property owner applied for a BPR for a single-family home. The permit is currently has been approved, and they would, still require a building permit. However, as of yesterday's inspection, one of the tiny homes have been removed. So there's only one currently on that property, which satisfies the temporary use, the residential density, which is 5.07.09C.
So that would
That's
resolve the
incorrect.
junk and
No,
debris?
it's,
Because that's,
no, I'm sorry, that's one that would remain. The
0200P, RVs and campers?
No, it's gonna be the C.
Oh, C, sub-8, temporary use of an RV.
Correct. Sorry,
So the
kind of running
removal,
together.
so the removal of so there were 2 tiny homes, the 2 campers, and you said what's been removed to make them compliant under that? When I say that.
They were
2
only allowed one single-family home, permitted single-family home on that lot. So because one of them was removed and leaving one tiny home that has now been permitted through the planning department, satisfies that particular violation.
All right, so they had 2 tiny homes. One's been removed, the other that remains has been permitted under the BPR you mentioned?
Yes.
So
They
that
still
would-
require a building permit.
Yeah, so, but that resolves 2.02.00C sub-8, temporary use of an RV. Are the other RVs not being used, or that's?
There's a lot of movement and changes since the initial inspection photos. Does not appear that they are being lived in, with a primary structure. They are allowed to store up to 2 RVs on that property if the RVs do belong to them. I'm fairly new to this case, so there's some questions. I have made some attempts to try to get into contact with them to try to kind of discuss what exactly is going on, as far as if there's any RV living or if they're just being stored there.
Okay, so, I guess with that in mind, would we want to consider that there was evidence to support that there was a violation?
Yes.
That's been resolved?
I would ask that that you find them in violation in the event that, through further research and inspections and discussions with the property owner, that I feel confident that we would be able to get them into compliance by a deadline.
Okay.
If ordered that they're in violation of that today.
All right. All right, anything else?
I am recommending that, that the property owner, also be given the 61 days in order to get into compliance, or pay $250 a day until compliance is achieved.
All right.
And I'm asking for the 61 days. It seems a lot, but there's a lot of movement. There's a lot of items on that property that, I just wanted to give them ample time to be able to, for one, be able to set up a meeting where I can discuss what needs to be done specifically after today's hearing, and to be able to get them into compliance in that time frame without having to accrue any fines.
All right, and then there's $73 I see in the packet for administrative fees?
Administration fee, yes, sir.
All right, thank you, ma'am. All right, I'll accept into evidence the staff report and backup materials. I'll close the evidence portion of this hearing. I'll make the following findings of fact and conclusions of law. I'll find that based on the testimony and evidence, there has been sufficient evidence to show well, let me say this, that I'll make the finding that 91 Oleander Avenue, Phoenix Springs, Florida, the property listed at that address is in the unincorporated area of Walton County, Florida, is therefore subject to the Walton County Land Development Code. Based on the testimony and evidence presented this morning, I do find sufficient evidence to show that there are ongoing violations and that there was a prior violation, but that violation has been resolved as of the time of this hearing. The violations that are continuing on the property as of the hearing date today is 1.13.00A development approvals, 2.02.00P is in Peter, RVs and campers, 5.07.09C, junk and debris. Is that correct, Ms. Hicks? All those? Would we need development approvals since they have that?
Yes, if you could, yes, so we want to include that because they would require final inspection before they move
Oh,
forward.
they haven't had their final inspection?
Yes, it's just an approved issued permit, BPR.
Okay, understood. So as previously stated, those 3 violations are still ongoing. Those violations will need to be brought into compliance on or before December 8th. In the event they're not brought into compliance by that date, there will be a $250 per day fine. I'll also find, based on the testimony and evidence, that there was a previous violation of 2.02.00C8, temporary use of an RV. I believe there's evidence, and I saw it in the packet, that the property owner admitted that people were living in the RVs. Therefore, based on Officer Hicks's testimony, that appears that they're no longer being used. In the event the RVs in the future are being, evidence can be shown that they are being used for living quarters, those can be treated as a repeat offense. I'm going to mark through on this order that particular section I'm going to write that section down by the section of the code showing that it's in compliance. But in the event there's a future violation, it can be treated as a repeat offense. All right, Officer Hicks, did I miss anything? All right, I'll sign that order. Next case is CE 25-01477. Property owner is listed as Flynn Building Specialists, LLC, and the address is 172 Blue Pond Circle in Ponce de Leon, Florida. Is there anybody here on behalf of Flynn Building Specialists, LLC?
I spoke with them yesterday. They are aware of everything. They actually live out of county, so they were not able to make it today.
Okay. And you're not asking for continuance, you're ready to proceed?
Yes, sir. They are agreeant with everything that I've already told them what we were going to present and the recommendations and everything, and they were in agreement with my recommendation.
Okay, well, let's proceed then.
I'm Officer Rachel Neenan, Walton County Code Compliance. For the record, I'm submitting my final summary case report and testimony in regards to case number 25-01477. The property is located at 172 Blue Pond Circle, Ponce de Leon, Florida, 32455. Parcel number 094 North 18110010001. I'm sorry, 0190. Property owners Flynn Building Specialist LLC. That is doing weird. This property is in the unincorporated area of Walton County and is subject to the Land Development Code, Chapter 7, and the county ordinances. The violations cited are 1.13.06 post-development and post-permit changes and 4.03.03 shoreline protection zones. On May 22nd of 2025, our office received a complaint that stated this property, as well as the property built next to it, to have a retention wall that was never approved and a wall that has failed twice. There's erosion issues and silt fencing needs to be replaced. They have also started construction of a pickleball court right by the lake. On June 5th of 2025, I conducted an initial inspection and found the unpermitted retaining walls and a concrete slab poured in the shoreline buffer. I spoke to the realtor and explained to her that they will need to get the retaining walls permitted and the concrete slab removed out of the shoreline buffer, and a restoration plan will need to be completed. On June 6th of 2025, a notice of violation was given as prescribed by code. On June 6th of 2025, I was contacted by Chris, the general manager of Flint Building, who I explained the violations to. He asked for the approved site plans and the notice of violation to be emailed to him and a summary. I have sent him an email stating all corrections and attachments requested. Also on that date, I received a voicemail from the future property owner, Kevin Stevens, which I believe is actually a partner in Flynn Building Specialists. And I returned his phone call and explained the violations. Also on that date, I issued a stop work order. I had several phone calls between Flynn Building and Kevin Stevens about status updates and that they were still working on getting the restoration plan applied for. On September 12th of 2025, a notice of hearing was given as prescribed by code. At this time, they have applied for permits for the retaining wall and the restoration plan. Photos in your packet show the initial inspection and pre-hearing conditions with violations still existing, as well as the original BPR that was approved, the permit for the retaining wall that is being processed, and the permit for the restoration plan as well that was just submitted yesterday. I would like to submit my packet into evidence.
All right, that'll be accepted.
There's also a stack of emails between all of us and all the correspondence between the planning department, myself, and the property owners.
I see that in here. Okay, thank you. What's the county's recommendation?
60 days to achieve compliance with a $250 per day fine to accrue with a $73 admin fee.
Based on the current status and your conversations with representatives from Flynn Building Specialists, really 60 days would be sufficient time?
I believe so. Now that everything has been submitted, they had a really rough time trying to find a landscape architect that would be able to get them on the books and be able to present a architectural landscape plan for the restoration. Mr. Stevens in particular, he had a rough time getting someone. He ended up having to get someone from Escambia County to come over to be able to do that for him. Is what he explained to me, is that he had put in multiple phone calls for that to happen, and either they would never call him back, or they just couldn't get to him.
Okay. Well, yeah, I understand everybody's busy, and I don't want to set them up to fail either. So if you're representing and you feel confident that 60 days will be sufficient, or should be sufficient to keep them motivated and bring this into compliance, I'm fine with that.
I mean, if you feel like you should extend it out more than that, just depending on the planning department's processes and implementation of the restoration plan, that's completely in your house.
Yeah, I mean, I have no reason to believe that it should take longer than 60 days. They're not here to request additional. So unless you tell me otherwise, I'll probably tend to go with your recommendation.
Yeah,
All right.
I think 60 days will suffice.
All right. Thank you, ma'am. Based on that, I'll close the evidence portion of this hearing. I'll make the following findings of fact and conclusions of law. I'll find that the property located at 172 Blue Pond Circle in Ponce de Leon, Florida is in the unincorporated area of Walton County, Florida, and is therefore subject to the Walton County Land Development Code. Based on the testimony and evidence, I do find sufficient evidence to find that there is a violation on the property. The violations are 1.13.06 post-development order and post-permit changes, and 4.03.03 shoreline protection zone. Based on the county's recommendation, I will find that the property must be brought into compliance on or before December the 8th, which is 61 days. that if the property is not brought into compliance on or before that date, a $250 per day fine will be imposed. In addition to the fine, there's a $73 administrative fee that will need to be paid regardless of whether the property is brought into compliance, and that fee will need to be paid within 30 days. And I signed that order. Did I miss anything, Officer Neenan? All right, thank you, ma'am. Next case is CE 25-01478.
This is the neighboring property.
This is the neighboring property. Okay, I was about to. I didn't see anybody come in, so I'm assuming there's nobody here on this one either. All right.
It's almost identical to the other, except they do not have the concrete slab into the shoreline protection zone.
Okay.
So, Officer Rachel Neenan, Walton County Code Compliance. For the record, I'm submitting my final summer case report and testimony in regards to case number 25-1478. Property is located at 182 Blue Pond Circle, Ponce de Leon, Florida 32455. Parcel number 094 North 1811001000080. Property owners Flynn Building Specialist LLC. This property is in the unincorporated area of Walton County and is subject to the Land Development Code Chapter 7 and the county ordinances. The violations cited are 1.13.06 post-development and post-permit changes and 4.03.03 shoreline protection zones. The same complaint come in as stated prior. An inspection was held on June 5th of 2025. I conducted the initial inspection and found the unpermitted retaining walls and a concrete slab poured in the shoreline buffer. That's wrong, I'm sorry. The concrete slab was not poured in the shoreline buffer. The shoreline buffer had been cleared. I spoke to the realtor and explained to her that they needed to get the retaining walls permitted and the shoreline buffer restored. On June 6th of 2025, I issued a notice of violation as prescribed by code. I issued a stop work order as well. On the same day, I was contacted by Chris, the general manager of Flynn Building, who I explained the violations to. He asked to have the approved site plans and the NOV emailed to him in a summary. I sent him an email stating all corrections and attachments requested. I had several phone calls between Flynn Building with status updates, and they were still working on getting the restoration plan applied for.
That's fine, Officer Nee. I'll.
Yeah, it's the same. It's almost
understood.
identical.
Yeah, I'll take notice of your previous testimony. Is there anything
Thank you, sir.
specific to this property, other than the fact that the concrete foundation was not in the setback?
No, sir. Everything's identical besides that. I mean, these properties have a shared driveway, shared common area in between where the retaining walls are with a fire pit. And then both walk downs are right there together. So the houses are almost combined at this point.
Right. Okay. What's the county's recommendation? I'll accept into evidence your report and
Thank
backup
you.
materials. What's the county's recommendation? Is it the same as the last one?
Yes, sir.
All right. And just so I'm clear, that would be 60 days or 61 days, $250 fine, and $73 in administrative fees.
Correct.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. This time I'll close the evidence portion of the hearing. I'll make the following findings of fact and conclusions of law. I'll find that the property located at 182 Blue Pond Circle in Ponce de Leon, Florida is in the unincorporated area of Walton County, Florida, and is therefore subject to the Walton County Land Development Code. Based on the testimony and evidence presented, I do find sufficient evidence to support that a violation has occurred on the property, specifically 1.13.06 post-development order and post-permit changes, and 4.03.03 shoreline protection zones. Based on the county's recommendation, I will find that the property must be brought into compliance on or before December 8th, 2025. In the event the property is not brought into compliance on or before that date, a $250 per day fine shall be imposed. In addition to the fine, there's a $73 administrative fee that'll need to be paid regardless of whether the property is brought into compliance, and the property owner has 30 days to pay that administrative fee. All right, did I miss anything?
No, sir.
All right.
The property resident I'm not sure if she's the owner of Brennan Properties LLC. I know it's already been heard, but she would like to comment. It was the one right before mine.
Okay, well, you'll have to hold tight. We're gonna go through these other two, and then I'll come back to that. CE 2400952, Rhonda and Braden Kramer. This property is 29 Enchanted Way, Santa Rosa Beach, Florida. Is there anybody here for that? Rhonda or Braden Kramer? No? Okay. All right. Getting set up over there. You good?
I think I'm good.
All right, go ahead.
All right. All right. My name is Uriel Baza with Walton County Code Compliance. For the record, I'm submitting my final summary case report and testimony regarding case number CE 24-00952. This property is located at 29 Enchanted Way, Santa Rosa Beach, Florida 32439. Parcel number is 24-2 South-21-42274-000-0630. Property owner is Rana Sue and Braden Kramer. This property is in the unincorporated area of Walton County and is subject to the Land Development Code Chapter 7 in the county ordinances. The violation cited is 1.13.09C, building permit. Complaint was received on October 30th, 2024, for building a deck on the right side of the house without proper permits. I conducted my initial inspection at the property on October 31st, 2024, where I attempted contact by knocking on the door, but did not receive an answer. Later that day, I received a phone call from the property owner who identified himself as Paul Dean. I informed Mr. Dean of the reason for my visit, where he admitted he did not have a permit for the additional deck. On February 5th, 2025, I received an email from planning stating that the BPR had been approved. Following the approval, Mr. Dean informed me that he would do his best to get the building permit soon after. Mr. Dean continued to inform me that he was working with the building department to get his building permit, but on March 4th, 2025, he informed me by text that the property had been sold. On March 7th, 2025, I reached out to the new property owner who identified herself as Rhonda Kramer. Ms. Kramer did not have any acknowledgement of the code case. I informed her of the violation and the necessary actions required to resolve the violation, and also informed her that any issues with the title company not providing the information relating to the code case would have to be handled civilly. I was able to speak to Amberlyn Horton with the title company, who said they would work with the property owner to help with the violation, since it does appear it should have been caught prior to closing. A new notice of violation with a new deadline was mailed certified and posted at the property on April 14, 2025. After several conversations with Ms. Kramer and understanding her frustration about the issue, she informed me that she is not getting the answer she was hoping for. The title company informed her that they would help, but she would be required to provide funds on her end as well to obtain proper permitting through a licensed contractor who would require his standards of building prior to signing off on any approvals. On August 26, 2025, I spoke to the property owner, letting her know that we would have her case scheduled for magistrate hearing for the October hearing, since there was no progression on the permit and the deck was still in the same condition with no changes made. On September 18, 2025, a notice of hearing was sent certified mail, posted at the property and posted at the South Walton Courthouse. As of today, the property is not in compliance with the violation cited. Photos in your packet show the initial inspection and the pre-hearing conditions with the violation still existing. I would like to submit my packet into evidence.
That's accepted. What's the county requesting?
I have it down for, just due to my scheduling, 33 days, which would bring it to November 10th to come into compliance, or a $100 fine to accrue.
I'm sorry, how much?
$100 per day.
73 in administrative fee. What the, so the application was put in by the prior owner? Did
Correct.
current owners put in, or do they get to just kind of piggyback off of the prior?
So they try to piggyback off of the original BPR, but since the title company was involved and they wanted to have their own contractor get a say into whether or not he was gonna sign off on what the BPR had approved, and he said he wouldn't. He said he would have to basically start from fresh because he didn't want to put his name on something that would eventually cause liability on his end. So they ended up, I guess, trying to get that contractor, but at the end of it, the property owner said that they wanted her to pay like a difference that she wasn't willing to pay.
And then the photograph, is it, so the part that's at issue, is that the screened in area?
Correct. And just as far as the property owner, I spoke to her recently. She says she's still, working with the building department to, try to get it approved. But
Well, I get that's why I'd asked the question earlier, if they were allowed to piggyback or were trying to piggyback off the other BPR for their permit application, because, if they're gonna start from scratch, that, adds time.
yeah, so the last conversation I had with her, because she was trying to work with the title company, and I told her all that would have to be handled civilly. I don't know exactly what they would help with, but I think what she's attempting to do at this point is get the building permit without the title company's help to see if she can piggyback off of what's already been approved through the planning department with the prior property owner. So I think she's at this point just trying to see what she can do on her own, because title is, trying to charge for, what they would do.
All right, anything else?
No, sir.
All right. I'll close the evidence portion of this hearing. I'll make the following findings of fact and conclusions of the law. I'll find that the property located at 29 Enchanted Way in Santa Rosa Beach, Florida is in the unincorporated area of Walton County, Florida, and is therefore subject to the Walton County Land Development Code. Based on the testimony and evidence presented, I do find sufficient evidence to support that a violation has occurred on the property, specifically a violation of 1.13.09C building permit requirement. I'm going to provide more time than what the county's requested, just because it seems as though the Kramers haven't inherited this issue or problem. So while the county's asked for 33 days to November 10th, I'm going to provide the Kramers 60 days to bring or 61 days to bring the property into compliance, so on or before December 8th. I know that's more than you wanted, but I also understand the Kramers are in a difficult position trying to clean up a mess they didn't necessarily create. I do agree with the county's recommendation on the fine. There will be a $100 per day fine should the property not be brought into compliance on or before December 8th. In addition, there's a $73 administrative fee that'll need to be paid regardless of whether property is brought into compliance. That'll need to be paid within 30 days. Did I miss anything?
No, sir.
All right, and I've signed that order.
Thank you.
Thank you. And then our last case, CE 25-01184. Property owner was listed as Christopher Campbell, and the property is 164 Red Barn Road, Freeport, Florida. You, Mr. Campbell? Oh, man, you drew the short straw. I had to be here all day.
I got it.
All right, Mr. Campbell, you were sworn in earlier?
Christopher Campbell.
All All right, Mr. Campbell, you were sworn in earlier?
I don't believe I was.
Okay, I'm gonna need you to raise your right hand. Do you swear affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? All right, thank you, sir. Of all of us, you've sat here the longest probably besides myself and Gina. We'll allow the county to present, and then you can ask questions and present anything you want me to consider, all right? Whenever you're ready.
Officer Uriel Baza with Walton County Code Compliance. For the record, I am submitting my final summary case report and testimony regarding case number CE 25-01184. This property is located at 164 Red Barn Road, Freeport, Florida 32439. Parcel number is 31-1 South-1-9-23000-003-0090. Property owner is Christopher Campbell. This property is in the unincorporated area of Walton County and is subject to the Land Development Code Chapter 7 and the county ordinances. Violation cited is 5.07.09.c. Exterior storage of non-operating vehicles, junk or debris. Received a complaint for junk and debris, non-operable vehicles, boats, couches and chairs on the front porch, rat infestation. I conducted my initial inspection at the property on February 21st, 2025, and observed from public view several items in the yard, including vehicles and boats that appear to be derelict. With the research I conducted, I called the property owner's phone number several times in an attempt to communicate the violation cited, but did not receive any answer or callback. On March 5th, 2025, a notice of violation was sent certified mail and posted at the property. It appeared the property owner had received notice since I observed a dumpster on site, where after several follow-up inspections, the property's condition would improve slightly. Although it seems that some effort to improve the property's condition was implemented, the property never fully came into compliance, nor have I been able to contact anyone from the property. On September 18, 2025, a notice of hearing was posted at the property and the South Walton Courthouse. On September 22nd, 2025, CCO Forehand assisted with mailing out the certified mailing. As of today, the property is not in compliance with the violation cited. Photos in your packet show the initial inspection and the pre-hearing conditions, with the violation still existing. I would like to submit my packet into evidence.
All right, that'll be accepted in evidence. All right, Mr. Campbell, do you have any questions for Officer Baza at this time, or anything regarding his packet that he just submitted into evidence?
No, sir, I just wanted to say that the boats are operational and they're registered and the vehicles are registered and insured, and I'm working on getting them operational.
All right. Besides the boats and the vehicles, are there any other junk and debris that's at issue, Officer Baza?
Yes, sir.
I see. I see things in the photographs. I just want to make sure that's not on somebody else's property or.
No, all that's is the same property.
So I see some.
I have cleaned that up since then, but I'm not sure when his last time he had been out there or anything, but.
Yeah, when was the last time you were out there?
Last visit, starting from exhibit, I believe 13, would be my pre-hearing inspection that was conducted yesterday.
So if you look at Mr. Campbell, you'll see up in the upper kind of where the staple is, exhibit 13 towards the back of your packet. There's a photograph, shows an American flag in the foreground and a boat in the background and some other things out in the yard. And I'm assuming that's visible from the roadway.
Correct.
So looking at that, Officer Baza, what would need to be cleaned up, so to speak, for the property to be brought in compliance, assuming the boat is properly registered?
I can't really see exactly what specifically they are, but I mean, you can see there's a grill back there and a piling of some
That's a smoker
Ma-
next to it.
material,
Yeah, it's a smoker.
next to the flag right there underneath. I don't know exactly what all that
Those are
buildup is.
blocks for working on vehicles, you know, jacking them up.
Right. Just a cleanup of that, you know, a little bit more in depth. I don't necessarily know about whether the vehicles are registered or not. Haven't had any evidence of that. But my initial inspection shows most of these vehicles in the same condition and the same location with no movement, which leads to believe that the vehicles are inoperable and not, you know, in functioning matter. So I just haven't got the evidence to prove otherwise.
Yeah, and I guess Mr. Campbell can either provide that or, but I believe his testimony is that he's in the process of working on those to get some of those operational, so it seems as though he's admitting that, yeah, at least some of the vehicles are not operational. I guess what I'm trying to find out is, as we sit here today, what would Mr. Campbell need to do to bring his property into compliance? Because you stated, as of yesterday, it wasn't brought into compliance.
Yeah.
And maybe that's a conversation to be had offline.
Sure.
But I mean, Mr. Campbell's gonna need to know what things the county suggests are out of compliance, so he can either bring those into compliance or he can argue against them and say I'm allowed to have that.
Yes, sir. I need to know what junk and debris is. I need to kind of.
Yeah, no, there's no doubt about that. I agree with that. It's just, I haven't had any communication with you, to be able to go over that. I've tried several times to contact with the numbers. I've left voicemails. I've obviously have left, my notices at the property, and they've been removed. So somebody's apparently getting the violation cited, and I leave my phone number and my information on there to be able to move the property into compliance. And I just, at this point, you know, I haven't had that, so.
Well, I mean, we're here today. Mr. Campbell's here. You guys can connect. I guess what my thing would be is, you know, Mr. Campbell needs to be given some guidance on what he needs to bring into compliance, or, you know, again, if there's a dispute and he says, I disagree, then he needs to be able to say that. But I think, you know, he's in a position, as we sit here right now, he's representing the vehicles are have been registered and are being repaired. So this is what I would like to do is I'm not going to continue the case, but what I would suggest is we give Mr. Campbell and Officer Baza the ability to connect today, exchange information, and I give a certain amount of time, probably 60 to 75 days for y'all to connect, work together, and hopefully get the any issues resolved. So what's the county requesting in this case?
Only thing I'm requesting is to have, obviously I'm going to have to have communication with Mr. Christopher, but also allow access to the property to be able to identify those items with him, you know, to show you exactly what needs to be done. So I just need access to the property from you. And, you know, I'm okay with the time given to allow him to come into compliance, you know, the 60 days if that's necessary, but just asking for, you know, accessibility to the property to be able to point out exactly what needs to be done.
Well, I'm going to let you and Mr. Campbell work that out. I mean, I'm not going to order, I don't even think I have the authority to order Mr. Campbell to give you access to the property, but if he wants to provide you access to allow to confirm that the vehicles are registered, or, you know, to identify certain things that you believe need to be remedied, I mean, again, I'll allow Mr. Campbell and you to work that out. I would hope you would want to give you some access so you could point out things, but again, you know, there's private property rights, and I'm not gonna look to trample on those today, so. But, all right, with that being said, Mr. Campbell, do you have anything else that you want me to consider?
No, sir.
The county requested 60 days. Do you think that would be sufficient for you guys to connect and hopefully get this
Absolutely.
resolved? Okay, excellent. All right, well, at this time, I'll close the evidence portion of this hearing. I'll make the following findings of fact and conclusions of law. I'll find that the property located at 164 Red Barn Road in Freeport, Florida is in the unincorporated area of Walton County, Florida, and is therefore subject to the Walton County Land Development Code. Based on the testimony and evidence presented, I will find that there has been prima facie evidence, so that on its face, evidence to show that there is a violation on the property, violation of 5.07.09C, exterior storage of non-operating vehicles, junk, or debris. I do note that Mr. Campbell has disputed that, and the hope is within the next 60 days. So on or before December 8th, actually 61 days, that Mr. Campbell can present his evidence, and if he decides to allow Officer Baza on the property, he can do that. What was the county's request as far as fines?
It was $150 per day.
Okay. I think that's appropriate based on what we have in front of us, so I will agree to the $150 per day fine. So you'll have on or before December 8th to bring the property into compliance. The property's not brought into compliance by that date, there's a $150 per day fine that will be imposed. So there's no fines until that date triggers. So I would just recommend you get with Officer Baza, as soon as you can. There is a $73 administrative fee that'll need to be paid regardless of whether or not you bring the property into compliance. You'll have 30 days to pay that. You'll need to wait probably till next week before you can pay that, and that's paid through the clerk's office. All right, Officer Baza, did I miss anything?
No, sir.
All right. Mr. Campbell, do you have any questions regarding the order?
Yes, sir.
All right. I appreciate you showing up, sir. Good luck to you, and look forward to having those issues resolved. All right. Is there anything
Thank
else? You're dismissed, Mr. Campbell, if you want to go, but I would recommend you grab a couple seconds. Anything else on the agenda? My agenda shows we're done, other than orders to be signed. All right.
I've been having problems for
12:05, and we are adjourned.
419.